All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Run Your Mouth podcast. I missed you. Harrington, did you miss our audience?
Yes, Rob.
I missed him. And if any of you are out there asking, like, hey, where were we? Well, where were you? We're not getting all up in your shit asking why you couldn't put out the thing that you committed yourself to put out weekly. Are we giving the audience a hard time about not being here the last 2 weeks?
Where were you while we were getting high?
I wasn't getting high. Were you getting high?
I mean, was it a day that ends in Y?
Most days end in Y?
Yeah, dog.
Oh, that's a good one. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday,
Are you
Wednesday,
really...
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They all end in Y. That's the joke. You were getting high every single day, weren't you, Harrington?
It's a whole bunch, Rob. You sure you weren't getting high?
No, I wasn't getting high. I've been trying to clean up my act so that we can get back to a regular schedule, getting this out to the kind fans weekly on, I don't know what day we even release anymore. I've gotten confused.
It's usually Saturday mornings, isn't it?
It's supposed to be Saturday, Sundays, and I used to get complaints over the weekends, hey, where's my content? But I think people have gotten used to I'll just put it out at some point.
If you get it by Monday, you're lucky.
Yeah, you're lucky. Exactly. Well, you know what? But I like the thought that some people are actually going into their weekend excited for our show, and that's like part of their weekend. We get to be a part of people's weekends, so we got to get back to being regular on Thursdays. First thing I want to talk about is Crockpot life isn't quite working out for us. Have you been following the Crockpot chronologues of the show, Mike Harrington?
I mean, dude, immediately my head just goes to the anarchist cookbook when it comes to crockpots. So there's so many different bombs you can make with a crock pot.
No, we're not trying to blow anybody up. We're trying to cook ourselves delicious, healthy meals.
Right, but that's where my head goes, and it brings me to a dark place. So I try not to think about crock pots.
No, come on. That's not what we're about on this program, affiliating anarchy with blowing up crock pots. That's not what we're trying to do. No, I'm trying to make some improvements over here. So I've been trying to cook myself meals in crock pots. We've talked about it on the show. And let me tell you, it's not working out. Some people told me in advance that I'd be better suited for the pressure cooker, and I resisted. I said, "You get the fuck out of here." I was being stubborn. I was like, "I'm all about the crock pot. The crock pot, me and the crock pot, we were made to be together. I'm going to use this thing. I'm going to cook myself delicious meals. Once I figured out, maybe I'll graduate to the pressure cooker." But I had for a whole week. I was doing no drinking. I was really behaving myself, and then I was at LOL on a Friday. Well, let's not say what night. It was Saturday night. And I'm at LOL Saturday night, and I get home at 12 a.m. I didn't drink all night. It was a miserable night of doing shows over there. And I was full of energy, and I realized, hey, why don't I take this opportunity to go shopping? I hate grocery shopping, but I was like, I'm up, I'm energized, and I'm going to go do my shopping. I'm going to go put together meals for the week. I was like, I'm going to make one meal now, and then tomorrow morning I'll eat it for breakfast, and then I'll turn over the crock pot. Anyways, I decided I was going to make ribs. So at 12 a.m., I'm in the grocery market. I pick up some ribs. I pick up some drumsticks. I pick up some other beef. I'm not cooking these all at the same time. Harrington, you left at the beginning of the story. Now you're coming back making confused faces at me like this is my fault.
I'm not.
You left in the middle of the story.
I never left. My headphones were on the whole time. I was listening to you.
No, you walked out. I saw you walk out.
Buddy, you can't be buying that much meat after midnight. It's wild.
No,
it's wild behavior.
There's a store called Brooklyn Bazaar. Called Brooklyn Bazaar. There's a store called the Food Bazaar by me. They're open 24/7. They're gigantic.
And they expect people to come in and buy 7 pounds of meat at midnight?
They're open 24/7. Listen, is it weird to be a person buying pounds of beef at midnight? Of course it is. But then again, when you work a full-time job and then you go to stand up in the evenings, well, you know what I mean? You're living a weird life already. You're on a weird schedule. So I get back to my house at 1 a.m., and I decide I'm going to cook myself some ribs. Now, keep in mind, whole week, I wasn't drinking. I was behaving myself, keeping regular hours, and I start cooking up these ribs. I put the ribs up in the crock pot. I'm spicing them up. I fill the thing to the top. And then when I closed the crock pot, I was so excited for the ribs, I stayed up for 4 hours for them to cook. I did not sleep that night. I was up all night. I was too excited for rib meat to possibly go to sleep. My roommate came back an hour later, and he got all excited about the rib meat. Next thing you know, me and him were drinking on the couch. We're drinking on the couch. Finally, 4 a.m. comes around. We ate some delicious ribs. We ate all the ribs. But crockpot life's just not for me. I'm too short-sighted. I can't be waiting. I can't be putting together food at night and then I'm going to eat in 6 hours from now. You expect me to prepare for a meal 6 hours from now. When I was living sandwich life, I showed up to the bodega when I was hungry. I walked out with the sandwich 10 minutes later. I was good to go. Operation complete, full within 15 minutes, going back out for dessert because I should have bought it in the first place. I just chose not to, and now I'm going back out. That's why I gotta upgrade to the pressure cooker.
You're not about pleasure delayed. I could have told you that the moment you bought the crock pot. In theory, it's great for the whole week. I'm really shocked that story didn't end with you falling asleep on the couch like post jerk with like a beer in one hand and just softened rib meat the next morning. You know what I mean?
No. Well, here's what ended up happening. I kept going into the crock pot and eating the ribs before, like, they weren't raw, they were fully cooked, but they hadn't been tenderized. And like we kept going in there and be like, all right, they need a little more time. But I'm just saying, everyone who I was boasting about my crock pot life to that was telling me, hey, I think you're more inclined for the pressure cooker was absolutely right. No, you come in for a minute. We're talking crock pots for a second.
All right. Yeah, Chris is a chef. That makes sense.
Yes.
I'm a crock pot fan.
You are a crock pot fan?
Talking about crock pots.
Well, you can basically, I'll give you the short story here, and then maybe you can throw a recipe at us, or if you got anything else, and then I'm gonna get in some news topics. And someone just cut off my mic. Why did my mic get cut out, Harrington? There we go.
Your mic never got cut out. Your headphones got cut out for a second.
My headphones got cut out.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure.
No, but so you're saying you bought a crock pot?
I bought a crock pot. I'm
meal prepping.
I'm trying to cook for myself,
Uh-huh.
and I discovered the only time I have for preparing meals for myself is basically late at night.
Uh-huh.
The idea being, well, then it'll be ready in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I try and prepare food at night, I just end up staying up all night because I want to eat the food. I'm too excited to go to bed.
Well, why don't you... Here's what you don't do. You don't turn the crock pot on at night. You prep everything.
No, but the thing that gets the juices flowing is putting it all together and having it in the crock pot, and then you smell the spices that you put together. And I've never cooked ribs for myself my whole life. Never cooked ribs.
See, yeah, I've never done ribs in the crock pot. I always just do those. I do a Dutch oven rib where you sear them, a country style rib that you do on top of the stove and you finish it off in the oven in the same pot. I've never done that. I could see, once the ribs are cooking.
Oh my God, I was so excited.
Yeah.
I was not going to bed. Well, do you have any crock pot recipes you want to throw out to the people? What are some of your, like, if you had to impart just 3 recipes on people that are simple, easy,
crock pot
delicious
recipes. I always do a lot of beans in a crock pot. I'll do like lentils with lamb and red wine.
Fuck yeah. You're really chefing it up.
A lot
of
fresh. Yeah, but here's the thing. It's like, it becomes like such a cheap thing because you can buy, like, I'll use lamb neck meat. Yeah. Nobody could and here's the thing. That's the thing about the crock pot is everything kind of turns to mush. Yeah. Even if you're giving it to somebody else, they don't know what cut of meat you're using.
Right.
And it's just delicious at the end of the day. That's kind of the beauty of it. But I'm a guy who likes pea soup. I know a lot of people don't. But in the crock pot, you let that shit go for like 15 hours. Just keep adding a little water to it as you need it. It's delicious.
Have you ever had sausage or hot dog in a pea soup?
I've had sausage. Never hot dog. But I would eat hot dog in a pea soup. Why not?
It's a weird combo, but it kind of flows.
Yeah. But I mean, I always just make it I use smoked turkey necks.
Okay.
And then just a bunch of those, potatoes. To me, that shit is delicious. I love a long cook like that. Yeah. Anything, a stew. I do curry chicken in the crock pot.
Curry chicken. You see, I love curry. I'm a big fan. You serve me a meal with curry, I love curry. However, I don't like my apartment reeking of curry. I don't like being in that apartment that's making the whole building smell like curry. I'm curry self-conscious. I like the curry, but my dad used to work in this area in Connecticut. There were a lot of Indians that lived in that area. Not like Native American Indians, like, OG Indians. Maybe less OG? What would you call more OG? Yeah, authentic Indians. But they're not that authentic. They're not going all the way back to, like, colonial times.
What do you mean?
Brown people. Okay,
India?
let's just keep it simple.
Indians from India?
Yeah, Indians from India.
I feel like they were in India longer than the First Nations people were here.
Anyways, their buildings stunk. Like when you walked in, because they lived like in these because they cook with the curry. It ends up coming out of their skin. It's too much curry.
Your building smells kind of funky generally.
Oh, it's terrible. It's real bad.
You're not making it worse.
That's true.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, but then I also think if your apartment, if you're cooking like that in your apartment, do you attract roaches?
I don't think so. I think as
do
long
roaches
as
smell, or is it just filth?
Well, they do smell and sense food, but as long as you clean up afterwards. Like, I don't think all the roaches in the building are like, "What's cooking?" It's just like, I think you got to like leave stuff out. It's got to like, you know what I mean? Like, it's got to be in near their areas.
Well, that's what I like about the crock pot is I cook it in the bag, so there's zero cleanup. Now, is there any health problems of cooking it in the bags?
I've never used those. I've never used those bags.
But you don't mind cleaning a pot?
I mean, I make enough in the crock pot. That food lasts me like 8 days.
What?
Yeah, I have a giant crock pot.
And then, but you don't get nervous about keeping in your fridge that it's going bad?
8 days? No. It's
really?
It's a long cook. Yeah, no.
Okay.
I'm never. I think people are overly
cautious about
getting rid of food. I mean,
I got a real weak stomach. After like 3 days,
But you're reheating the food.
I get nervous, man.
Just add hot sauce. That kills bacteria.
Is that true?
Yeah, capsaicin and vinegar both kill
Dude, you
bacteria.
know how much I eat hot sauce on everything? Why is my stomach not like at prime stomaching all the time?
Maybe you have used too much hot sauce and you killed off some healthy gut bacteria. Maybe you just need a probiotic.
Would that just solve everything for me?
Have you tried one?
I
was having like bad shits, and I would keep naturally fermented organic sauerkraut in the house because it's full of probiotics.
I like sauerkraut. I can get into sauerkraut.
You got to get you can't get the bag of Sabret sauerkraut for like 40 cents.
That's not going to work.
No, you got to get the jar of hipster sauerkraut.
Hipster sauerkraut.
Yeah.
I'm working on a joke on stage. It's like a whole rant about how if government does anything, it should just be getting us bathrooms.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the lines I have in there to describe the way that my stomach functions is that it's either clogged or splattered. It's one or the other. I've been saying basically I got it down now where all I do is I eat breakfast and I just take Imodium from there. But yeah, I got a weak stomach, which is changing everything. So much so, for a while, I had to stop eating dairy because it wasn't actually like wrecking my stomach shit wise. It was making me nauseous. Mm-hmm. But then my move was I would still eat dairy late at night because I was like, I'll sleep off the nauseous feeling. I can be nauseous in my sleep, you know? It's like sleeping off being drunk or whatever. Whatever. I'm going to be asleep. I'm not going to do away with dairy forever. Mm-hmm. I'll just save all my dairy for before I go to bed.
Okay.
But then I had an experience on a Saturday night. I pounded myself a milkshake late at night at Shake Shack.
Okay.
It was delicious.
They call them cements, right?
Why? Oh,
yeah, they do.
Yeah, concretes, right?
Concretes, yeah.
Yeah, they have the extra thick milkshakes.
Well, not only do they have the extra
Just
milkshake.
self-hatred, Rob.
They have...
Yeah, you have like a bizarre self-hatred food, sweets in particular.
It's particular sweets. Yeah. They have 40 flavors. You can put all 40 in. If you want to, you can say, hey, I'll take a milkshake all the way, and they will put every topping into your milkshake. They do it that way. What I had on this particular evening...
You're making that up.
I am not making that up.
They call it all the way?
I don't know that they call it all the way. I don't know that you can say.
No, because that sounded like some sick fast food terminology.
But, that sounds like McGangbang level.
I think there's a chance that if you show up to a Shake Shack and say, hey, I'll take a milkshake all the way, they know what you're talking about. Or there's a chance they go, it's a black person. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? They don't really
some white people shit.
Yeah, exactly.
You just order it and you just get a regular vanilla and put your dick in it. I wanted it all the way.
Speaking of black people, and then we'll get back to this milkshake thing. Today, I passed this black dude, and he started hollering at a lady. Big, fat black dude. Mm-hmm. Lady's on a bike. The whole way she's going up the street, he just keeps talking about...
Let me sniff that seat.
Yeah. Keep going, and that's what he was saying. He would not stop. And I think, sometimes people think it's offensive, I guess, the catcalling. I think not all black people, but I think there's some black... They just say everything out loud. There are no filters.
I think it's just more acceptable in that...
No, I've seen neighborhoods. I remember the other day I was in a 7-Eleven, some black chick's like, what, they ain't got none of the peanut M&Ms? I gotta get one of the regular, it was like an ongoing, I think some black people...
Dude, I'll still say this, the funniest sentence I've ever heard, and if I'm a racist for thinking, every time I think of this, I was in a Korean grocery store in Long Island City, and this fucking black chick walks in, she looked ratchet, she just goes... Hey, yo, Ching Chong, you got thought juice? It's the best sentence I've ever heard in my life.
You couldn't write a better sentence if you tried. I got one that might top that. I saw this chick yelling on a phone. It was right by Tompkins Square Park. Wait, I don't have time to go home and wash my ass? You're telling me I can't go home and just wash my ass out? I got to go out with a dirty ass? And she's screaming this in the street. I was like, the way this person looks, God bless.
I think it's just less of a filter.
Yeah, I think it's less of a filter. It's not... All right, so back to the milkshake.
Okay.
So you can throw anything into this milkshake. Now, what I usually like to do is a 1+ Oreo combo. That's my game. Sometimes I go peanut butter Oreo. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll go coffee Oreo. On this particular evening, I went strawberry Oreo. Mm-hmm. Holy shit, was this delicious. I took this thing down maybe 2, 3...
Strawberry Oreo.
Oh, such a great combo.
Good. Yeah.
Really good combo.
No, it's great and adventurous.
Yeah. And where you've never seen that presented to you. No, you've never gone to a diner.
Suggested it to me.
Because Oreo milkshakes are great and strawberry milkshakes are great. You can mix those things together. They go.
I bet the strawberry Oreos are mad good. They have to have those, right? Strawberry cream Oreos.
They have cherry for sure.
Ew.
They have Swedish fish Oreos. That
sounds
horrific.
That
sounds disgusting.
The worst Oreo, the only bad, because Oreo doesn't have a lot of misses. The only one I've had that I thought was a significant miss was the carrot cake one, because it just tasted too artificial.
Yeah, they weren't great.
Yeah, it lost. Hey, I got a crazy Oreo claim. Maybe you guys will back me up on this. Maybe you won't. I think if you get Oreo in the 6-pack or in a sleeve, they don't taste as good as when you get like a full one from the store.
Yeah, not even close. You're 100% right about that.
I agree.
Why is that? What are they like their worst Oreos get separated at the line and put into the...
I think it's the packaging doesn't
preserve it as well.
Protect it as well, yeah.
I also made a discovery. Oh, and then
because think about it, like maybe because there's like a staleness to them, right? Because they lay flat in there too. They don't lay in a sleeve.
Yeah.
They lay flat, right? So like I think there's less surface area exposed to air per Oreo if they're in a sleeve. No, so maybe that first and that last one probably tastes like the first and the last one probably tastes like the 6-pack. You know what I mean? Like when you pulled the sleeve out of the box.
Yeah.
Or like then there's that whole thing, the tray, right?
That's what I'm saying. The tray's not good. If you get the full single sleeve, it's also not good. Mm-hmm. The only ones that are good are like the full pack from a grocery store.
Yeah. But that's one tray with 3 rows. But they're packed in together. They're packed on top of each other. There's no spacing.
Okay.
And I think that's what
you just think it's a better packaging.
I think it's I think the lack of spacing leads to them not being exposed to air, because air is what fucking makes things stale or soft or kind of, you know what I mean? They're a little softer when you get them in a fucking 6-pack.
Yeah. I bet those are pretty good. You know what else I discovered recently? Because we're going to go full circle. I'm totally off dairy at the moment. Mm-hmm. So I tried dipping Oreos into like
black coffee?
No, that sounds good. I could go for that.
Yeah.
Because I always like dipping my Oreos up in some milk. I tried it in an oat milk, just totally disgusting.
I tried oat milk recently. Not bad, but it's not milk.
Yeah, it's just...
I don't want a cookie with it. It's not bad in coffee.
It's got that paper mache flavor to it that soy milk had as well. That's what... Yeah.
Dude, it's the only non-dairy milk substitute that I will fuck with coffee. The only one.
Yeah, it might be
so good.
I drink my coffee black now, but I'm just telling you, you dip your Oreo in there, you're just ruining your Oreo. It doesn't do anything for you. So anyways, I had this milkshake late at night, and I will plan ahead. Like, if I'm eating dairy late at night, it's like, hey, do I have my morning free to make diarrhea? Because otherwise, I'm not going to do it. This is a commitment. Anyways, I looked at my morning. First, I looked at my evening. It was 2 a.m. Saturday night, did my spots. Next thing I'm doing, I'm getting on the train home. It's the E-Train, easy ride. I'll be home within an hour.
I'm just going to break this down. He went out of the way to go to the Shake Shack. It wasn't you weren't like passing a Shake Shack.
No, I was at 49th Street. Yeah, it's out of my way to go to that Shake Shack. Yeah.
Yeah, I know where you were coming from, and I know where your train
But late
is.
at night, that's a great Shake Shack.
Well, the fact that they're open that late is crazy.
Drunk late at night on a Saturday.
But you know what's crazy about that Shake Shack? It always has been to me.
It's better than any other one.
But the lines are insane.
Not late at night.
Not late at night, but until like 10 o'clock at night. Like, the lines are so long at that Shake Shack, you could just get on the train, go to the Barclays Center, go to Shake Shack, and come back to Midtown in the same amount of time.
But do you agree, for some reason, that Shake Shack seems to be a higher quality Shake Shack?
I think the one in Madison Square Park is good, too.
That could be. I think that, like...
I think it's about volume.
Yo, the one here at Astor Place, not bad.
Yeah?
Not bad at all.
All right, so I drink this milkshake late at night, and then the next evening, like 6 p.m., I got a date with that tall chick. I've mentioned her to you guys before.
The blonde.
You know, I've been striking out with this lady for years. We're out in...
She's hot.
Yeah, she's cool, but, you know...
That's the kind of shake you just got to take the Shake Shack.
Yeah.
It's not happening. But anyways...
No,
I'm done with it anyways. But let's get back into
Rob,
the story.
every time.
You've been done with it 7 times.
No, but now this time I'm done with it. But anyways, on this particular one, we're out. We're having we went to this art exhibit. It's kind of a cool art exhibit. It was like all this graffiti art. Mm-hmm. But I got to tell you, like my version of an art exhibit is like seen it. Mm-hmm. It's not the funnest date activity. If the chick wants to actually like read all the cards and you got to kind of stand around like a putz.
I like reading the cards.
You like reading the cards? I don't like reading the cards. I'm like, can we move this along? Anyways,
I taught myself very remedial Spanish by reading all the cards at the Museum of the Revolucion in Havana, Cuba. And it's like the dopest time I've ever had at a museum.
How long were you there?
4 hours.
You didn't teach yourself remedial Spanish. You recognized some words.
I was enough for me to read every single one of the plaques and spend the time and figure out what was going on. Because they had it translated, and I would just read the Spanish side, and I'd be like, where was my reading comprehension there? Mm-hmm. And then I would go to the translated side and be like, yeah, I'm able to read that. You know what I mean?
So, anyways, I'm out on this date with this lady. We went to this art museum.
We're just going to gloss over how that clearly sounded like a lie.
Well, do we have to hold his feet to the fire every time he opens his mouth? That'll become the whole show. Hey, what did Harrington just say? We could rename the show. Hey, what did Harrington just say?
That's true.
Instead of Run Your Mouth. That's why it's Run Your Mouth. You just say dumb shit and we move forward.
Run your fucking mouth and move along.
Yeah, you run your mouth. We pretend like we're experts. We move along. That's what we do
I have
here.
glass in between me, bitch. Can't be throwing bottle caps at me from a fucking glass room.
It would have been great if that just managed to shatter the whole glass.
Oh, yeah.
That little flick of a nothing.
Ralph would be so mad.
I'd be really glad it's on camera and I couldn't be blamed.
Well, somehow
like,
your
he said something
presence.
stupid.
Yeah, and I had no choice but to throw this bottle cap.
And at least some part of everybody who runs this place would be like, well, you probably shouldn't have been antagonizing him.
This is wild.
All right, so I'm out on this date with this lady. We go to this art museum. We have a nice
Now,
time.
she knows it's a date. She's aware. Or are you friend zoned?
Probably friend zone, but you know what? I'm gonna say it was a date. That's why I'm gonna say.
When's the last time you made out with her?
Last time we hung out?
After the art thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyways, we go to after the art thing. We go to. I thought there was a bar. There turned out not to be a bar. The sun starts to set over New York. I'm like, well, let's drink some street beers. She's game for street beers. Cool broad, right?
Okay.
We sit in the park. We're pounding some street beers, and across the river in Manhattan, you're just watching the sunset. We're having this nice little moment there, and I'd be like, this would be an incredible moment if I didn't need to completely shit my pants. I mean, for 45 minutes, I sat there while the sun set, half making conversation, half being like, I'm going to shit my pants. I'm never eating dairy again. This is horrible. So that's it. I'm done. I'm divorcing dairy for a little bit. We're on.
I got a buddy, though.
Yeah.
He currently, again, has a sensitive stomach. He always thought it was dairy, right? And then he was dating a girl, and she was like, stop being a fucking pussy. You're not lactose intolerant.
Okay.
And then he just didn't have problems with dairy until that girl
She just
broke
told
up
him
with
not to be a pussy.
And then that girl broke up with him, and then now he gets the shits whenever he eats dairy again. But literally, they
But for
dated
the
for
time-
2 years. They dated for 2 years.
Yeah.
And he just, he could eat dairy again.
You're saying it's...
And he still eats dairy. He's a big fat fuck.
It took me a while to figure out that dairy was making me sick because, I ate like a slice of pizza every day for lunch. That was lunch, you know?
Yeah.
And then you switch over to sandwiches for dinner. But I started getting really nauseous, and then I was like drinking a lot to cool the nauseousness, which actually worked. I can't explain that one to you. But then I learned that it was the cheese was the nausea thing, and it's honestly not worth it. It's not even the shits so much. I get the shits no matter what. We don't have to talk about my stomach for this whole entire episode. All right. I'm going to move on to some news topics, which I think are not going to be of interest to you. But before I do, you're here. You're on the podcast. It's Run Your Mouth. We got no rules. We'll go in any direction. This way, that way, up, down, left, right.
Yeah, I'm good. I just did a whole podcast. I came in here to see what you were talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, that was the Crockpot segment, and now
I did come in for the crock. Also, I kind of do want to get one of those Instapots.
I'm hearing good things. I'm
hear good
hearing
things.
it's like a Crockpot, but in 1 hour.
No, the food's not going to be. I've cooked in a pressure cooker before on the stove.
Yeah.
But those Instapots, there's something about the electric nature of that. But there's no way you're getting a good. Like when you make a long, so I only use the pressure cooker, the crock pot. I don't make things like ribs in there.
Yeah.
I would probably make ribs in the pressure cooker, but I don't use that for that. I only use that for like soups and stews.
Right.
And with a soup or a stew, I think you're not gonna get. You want like you get like a fatty piece of meat with like you want something
And then
gelatinous
it
almost.
wears down.
You want something almost like with a lot of gelatin and like the bones, and you want that to like thicken in it, and that the gelatin actually bonds to the flavors, and that's what makes it good. That's why that food is better the next day because it's
Right.
recongealed, and then you're heating it up again, and the fucking food flavors bond to the gelatin that comes out of like the bones and soup bones and shit. And I don't think that's gonna happen if you rapidly cook in a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
That being said, I'd love to steam a chicken in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've got 3 dishes down. I got just throwing some like chicken bones in there, and then you get a whole bunch of cooked chicken bones. I got my ribs down, and I got my cholent down. But my recipe, it's always the same. I cook with a lot of cumin. I cook
Okay.
with a lot of crushed red pepper. Whatever pepper I can get my hands on. If I got a white pepper, black pepper, crushed red pepper.
I like a Szechuan peppercorn.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of a Szechuan peppercorn,
Fucking
especially
love
on
a
some ribs.
peppercorn.
On
Oh,
like a sweet
shit,
ribs, you throw a
yeah.
little Szechuan peppercorn in there,
Yeah.
numb your tongue a little bit.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Little chili powder, onion powder,
Bruh.
garlic powder, that's it. I don't use a lot of salt, and that's it. I kind of do that with everything. Sometimes I throw barbecue sauce in there. I like to go sweet and spicy. That's my palate.
fucking Feeney brought in a bag of those motherfuckers. Me, Brian, and Alex all tried them. Our fucking mouths foamed up. It was insane.
You're used to them. I love them.
Those things suck.
Szechuan peppercorns?
Yeah, they're the worst.
I'll take you to a place where they know how to fucking work with them.
Yeah, we just took a handful of them and chewed them raw. It was like eating soap.
Yeah, do that with regular black peppercorns. You like black pepper, right?
Bring one in.
You don't like black pepper? Like,
I can take it or leave it. Like I've been a no pepper guy for mad long.
chew up a rock of salt, then, Harrington. What do you like? Cum?
Hell yeah! I love rock salt.
All right, that was BK Chris from High Society Radio.
Oh, do you want me to get out of here before you get into the news?
Yeah, I don't think it's all. You don't want to be here for it. You're going to be annoyed
What's
with
the
me.
first one?
Well, it's. I want to talk about the whistleblower.
Okay.
And then I want to talk about impeachment.
Okay.
And then I want to talk about Turkey. And then
I know about all those things.
All right, you want to hang out for it?
I'll hang out for can I hang out for 15, 20 minutes?
You can hang out as long as you want. I just think you're going to get annoyed because it's all jokes that I've written, and you don't really want to sit here and listen to me tell
Am I allowed
jokes.
to chime in or no?
Oh, you can chime in all you want.
Okay.
Chime in all you want. All right. But before we do that, I'm going to play, I'm spending a little too much time at LOL, and I legitimately lost it on a dude the other night. I stopped being funny and I snapped, and I recovered quick enough that the audience didn't quite realize that I snapped, but I legit snapped. I got one of those heckles like, well, why don't you be funnier? I was like, well, why don't you fucking step outside with me, motherfucker? Let's go. You think I need to do this shit?
Then that guy thought that was hilarious.
No. It got real testy for a second. I covered up real quick, just right away. I was like, I'm not going to fight this guy. Right away, because I saw the audience was not on board with me turning on him and threatening to fight this guy in the hallway. But I'm going to drop that in here because it was a fun little moment.
Okay.
Did you enjoy that fun little moment, everybody?
That was a fun moment.
All right, so I want to run through some news stories. The first one I want to talk about, I know it's dated, but we haven't really gotten into it and it's still relevant, is the whistleblower. Before I start breaking this down, I know, BK Chris, you stay on top of this shit.
There's two whistleblowers.
So there's a second whistleblower showing up. We haven't gotten the full story on it. I don't even know if it's also another CIA guy, but the first guy did turn out to be a CIA guy. And, before I start picking it apart, I'd love to get your general perspective.
I mean, so based on just the transcripts and stuff, I'm just like, it still doesn't seem that crazy to me what Trump did. Now, it seems like he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Right.
Which we already knew. But it doesn't seem like wrongdoing. And the weird shit is the first 3 days this came out, I was trying to be like, wait, what were they investigating Hunter Biden for? And I couldn't find that information.
You know what I mean? What? Oh, so here's what's going on with Hunter Biden.
No, I know now.
Right.
But it took, a lot of it was just Trump kept saying to investigate the Bidens. I'm like, for what? We knew the Hillary stuff. It was just the emails and shady shit. Well, for what? What are they investigating him for? And then then the prosecutor thing kind of came out a little, but then there was all sorts of other shit. I'm just all right, I didn't know Hunter Biden was an oil executive in Russia. That's fucking bizarre. Or in whatever, Ukraine. It's just it is bizarre. The whole thing is weird.
So the starting point on the weirdness is the fact that, to me, it was a whistleblower. And usually a whistleblower, the whistleblower is firstly hey, little old me, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
I have to go tell because there's absolutely nothing I can do. And it turns out that the guy is the CIA. And you would think that, if you're CIA...
Whistleblower protection is important, no?
But here's the thing. Okay, that's true. However, when you're whistleblowing, I would think it has to be on your department. It can't be on a different department. That's not whistleblowing. It's almost competing departments in government. And in this case, you have the Attorney General's office is trying to investigate the beginning of this whole Russia collusion thing that turned out to be bullshit. The CIA is very likely involved in that. So in other words, you got a whistleblower. That's not even whistleblowing. That's almost undermining an investigation. You've got an investigation in your department that you're trying to now, whip out into a frenzy about how it's not legitimate. That's kind of what the Democrats were complaining about for an entire year, about undermining whistleblowing to me is if it's your department. If me and you were working in the lunch department for government, and I'm putting out that, hey, pork is good for your health, and you know that we just got a study and that pork's not good for your health, and you go, hey, pork's not good for your health. But if you're in another department, then you work with your department, or you come, you know what I mean? That's not, like, to me, it's just, that's not what whistleblowing is.
How did the guy from the CIA even hear it? Were they just listening to Trump shit?
Well, that's the crazier thing. That's where it gets, okay. So the guy, he wants to whistleblow, and I don't know, like, where would you go blow your whistle? Hallway, Whistleblowers Anonymous. So he goes to this army guy, and he goes, listen, I got this complaint. Now, I don't know why he goes to this army guy, but the army guy, he spent his whole life being like, sir, yes, sir. And now he's got a CIA guy in front of me. He's like, I don't get why you're why you being a pussy? Like, you're coming to me, you're in the CIA and you're being a pussy. Something's got to be weird about this. So he holds on to it for a little bit to find out whether or not it's executive privilege. But the executive privilege thing is what starts getting really confusing. So Adam Schiff,
that's actually what's been confusing me about it. And it seems like neither the president nor Congress can agree on this, right?
Well, so here's what drives me nuts. Like, I feel like, and I've said this before on the podcast, it's like a Monopoly game where they're just inventing the rules while they're going along, and some things shouldn't be ambiguous.
I feel like it's more like Mall Madness.
What is Mall Madness?
That was a game where it was just Monopoly, but you just went around the mall. You had credit cards.
And then
you're just running up the debt, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Similar.
It's Mall Madness.
I never played Mall Madness.
It's terrible.
I heard Mad Magazine had a fun game that was like the opposite of Monopoly, where you tried to lose all your money.
Nice.
That was like the point of it.
Brewster's Monopoly.
What's Brewster's Monopoly?
You never saw the movie Brewster's Millions with Richard
Great play
Pryor?
on words.
Yeah.
Excellent play on words.
But in that movie, for whatever reason, Richard Pryor had to spend $10 million and have nothing to show for it, so he can get $50 million. Is that it?
I think it was $10 million to get $100 million.
There you go. It was something like that. In order to inherit $100 million, he had to spend $10 million so well that he had nothing of value by the end of it. So he ran for mayor.
Oh, and he spent all of his money running for mayor?
And other nonsense, but yes.
And then did he end up inheriting the $100 million?
I believe so at the end. Or like he didn't, but then like people donated money to him. You know, it was a heartwarming
That's
ending.
a classic scam of, I have $10 million tied up in the bank and I just need the 10 grand to put up so I can get it out kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then people give you the 10 grand and then,
that's probably where they came up with the Nigerian print scheme.
Yeah, that's what's the Nigerian print scheme?
That's where they just go, you don't know about? I mean,
on the Nigerian, no.
No, you'll get like a random email from a Nigerian prince saying that his funds are all tied up and he needs $10,000. That was the original thing. There's actually
and he'll pay you out once he gets his money.
Yeah, they're not Nigerian actually. I forget what country it is in Africa, but there's a culture called, there's a religion around it, almost like a Santeria kind of deal.
Okay.
Called Sakawa. Vice did a thing about the Sakawa boys, but there's like a series of Nollywood films called Sakawa Boys.
Yeah.
And it's like just like our hood movies, but instead they're just scamming Americans.
Okay.
So like they're just like, they're still driving whips and shooting each other, but instead of selling dope or whatever,
I bet they feel a bit of, even if like they're scamming our old people, they feel an element of pride that they're on the losing team and they got something from the winning team.
Well, they also say that the reason why those emails are so retarded is because they want to weed out any work they have to do. So if you reply to that email,
then they know that
you're a
stupid.
fucking fish. They got you.
Right.
Like if you reply to something this terribly written.
And then it's probably the same thing with the phone calls. They know that it's not believable.
I had a guy call me the other day, say I owed money to Bally's Total Fitness.
Okay.
And I was like, from when? He goes, 2006. And I was like, the Bally's you're talking about closed in 2005.
Right.
And he was just like, sir, are you refusing to pay this? And I called Bally's, which is now 24-Hour Fitness. And they were like, no, dude, we have an internal thing. They just stole my information and knew I went to Bally's. They had my old address from like 15 years ago or whatever.
Right.
And they're just like, they just picked a year. And they were like, you owe $1,000. Like, I'm not giving you guys $1,000. You're crazy.
Right.
Like,
so you hung up on him? I like to piss
I fucked with him for a while.
Yeah, I like fucking with them.
Yeah. I was like, look, man, I think you're just gay for me. And that's when he hung up.
That's great.
I was like, that's why you're staying on the phone. You're just gay. And you're trying to have sex with me. And he hung up.
Yeah. I haven't gotten the calls in a while, but I mean, I know phone sales and I know the dynamics of it, so I have a lot of fun kind of fucking with these guys. But you just hang up. That's really all you got to do.
You had a good one the last time I was in there. What was it? Diabetes, and you were like, Diet Wheaties?
Oh, yeah.
That was great. I was in the ad room, and you were just like, yeah, I'd love to get some diet. You're saying me it's all the nutrition of regular Wheaties, but half the calories? Yes, I would love to get some Diet Wheaties. It was like a diabetes medication scam. Fucking great.
And I kept keeping on the phone, like, I'm highly interested in a purchase right now.
Yeah,
how do I get this product tomorrow? And he goes, so you do have Diet Wheaties? diabetes. I'm like, yes, send me the diet Wheaties.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
And it went on just way too long. Okay, so here was the thing we were talking about with the whistleblowing and the executive privilege. So Adam Schiff pulled the ultimate scumbag move. I mean, just so ultimate scumbag. The whistleblower originally went to Adam Schiff. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know that he actually spoke to Adam Schiff because he probably can't speak directly to Adam Schiff. Mm-hmm. So he speaks to Adam Schiff's people, and then Adam Schiff tells him, hey, go make the formal complaint. But then he gets up, and when they're doing the congressional hearing and they're grilling the guy who didn't come forward right away, he says, listen, if you had never come forward with this, we wouldn't even know that this happened. And that's not justice, that something could be happening and we wouldn't know about it. And that was bullshit because he knew about it from the outset. He knew about it before the complaint even came out. Now, the idea of executive privilege holding back a whistleblower complaint doesn't really make sense because I'm just saying, far out theoretical. Let's say Trump wants to bomb Kansas. Mm-hmm. He thinks Wizard of Oz is true and that, those fucking monkey things are going to come for his hair and his red ties too. Whatever. He's Donald Trump. We don't know what this guy's thinking.
Sure.
Now, a whistleblower comes forward and goes, hey, Trump's trying to nuke Kansas. So can you say that's executive privilege? Like, there's got to be some sort of a line in ability for whistleblowers to come forward. So there's like this ambiguous gray area of what constitutes executive privilege and what should be allowed to be brought forward. Now, in this case, while I agree with Adam Schiff that there should be a concept of a whistleblower and not everything should go to them first to decide whether or not it's executive privilege, in this case, it does seem like some deep state shit going on where a CIA guy goes to Adam Schiff and goes, hey, I think I might have your angle here. And then not only do we look in, like, okay, so here's the whistleblower complaint. The guy is complaining about something from another department that he didn't actually hear. Trump said something on a phone call that this guy wasn't even on. You know what I mean? And then, so it seems to me like he's basically a CIA, as Trump called him, a spy. He's hanging out in the White House.
Well, he's a spy. He's a CIA operative. That makes him a spy, correct?
Yes.
Like
he's technically is a spy. Is a spy. Yeah. Yes.
He's also a sty. He's an eye infection. He's pussy.
Yeah. So the whole thing with the Russia collusion was they basically tried to get Trump to give testimony so that they could bust him for lying.
Okay.
That's what they tried to. They never had Russia collusion. They stretched it out as long as they could. Mm-hmm. They were hoping that Trump would finally give testimony, and then they would bust him for giving testimony that was in some way contradictory. The same way they got Manafort.
Well, that's how they got Clinton.
Well, that's how they get you. They come up with these phony investigations. Then you lie to them during the phony investigation, and now you're in trouble for lying.
Yeah, because you're basically just lying about some other shit you did that wasn't illegal.
But if you never...
But you still want people to know about it because it's an annoying thing for people to know.
Exactly.
That's how they got Clinton.
Yeah.
Right? They just got him. They were investigating him for Whitewater, right? And he lied about fucking some chicks.
Because he doesn't want to be on the record for fucking some chicks, and then they get you for lying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's exactly what they pulled on Trump when they tried to do the Russia collusion thing. It didn't work out. It seems to me like that's exactly what they're trying to do here, is that now they're trying to get him for not allowing for the whistleblower complaint. Like, it's not about what he actually did. It's about the process, and that he's undermining a process. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, where I kind of take a different approach to... a different approach to what you were saying. I actually think from what I read of that transcript, Trump is pretty slick because he's so salesy there. He starts it off like, hey, Ukraine, you guys really need us, right? And I mean, if we weren't there for you, that'd be a big problem, right? Okay, well, here's what I need from you. And then the language that he wraps it in is, in the name of justice, I need you to go forward. I need you to help me figure out why there was this whole fake Russia collusion thing in my country. And I don't like that your investigator got fired while he was trying to prosecute Biden. That doesn't seem like justice. So he was really slick. There was no quid pro quo stated on the call. And he never said, hey, I want you to go get this political opponent of me. He was speaking to the concept of justice, which all seemed very slick. And what I also just think is kind of going on here is essentially there's a lot of shit that's going on with Ukraine. If you remember, the whole kind of rift between America and Russia was when they took over Crimea, right?
Yeah.
So what happened prior to that, though, and this I'm a little confused on the details, you guys can go ahead and fact check me, is that Ukraine, they turned over their leadership, and the leadership that they turned over was with the help, it was basically almost like a coup backed by Obama. And now Russia's like, holy shit, we've got this new government that's being backed by the West right in our backyard. We can't have that. So they annexed Crimea, right? Mm-hmm. But then from there it became, hey, Russia's our enemy. Now, what they're finding out is that they gave like $1.1 billion to some people over there that just disappeared, and that Ukraine was the biggest money giver to the Clinton Foundation. They gave the Clintons like $10 million, which they're not giving them money anymore. So it had nothing to do with charity. It had to do that when she was in the Secretary Department and government was giving money to the Ukraine, they understood, hey, we better kick back some money to these people. Now, the other thing that happened, which is crazy, is if you start unwinding the origins of the whole Russia collusion thing and the Carter Page and
Doesn't it come back to like an election that we kind of meddled in, or like Putin perceived it as us meddling in, where we were essentially propping up protesters in Moscow?
Yes. I mean, but now what we're finding is that that's kind of the nefarious side of the Democratic Party. This was all Obama, Clinton, Biden stuff. And so, and if Ukraine was a partner...
It's blowback from bad policy.
Yes, it's blowback from bad policy, but it's not just that. It's that if Ukraine was a partner of the Democrats in trying to undermine Trump, then you had a foreign government that was undermining our democracy, which is exactly what the Democrats have been going after Trump for this whole time.
I mean, I remember reading articles at the time. They're harder to find now just because of SEO or whatever. But didn't the Sanders campaign come to the Clinton campaign and go, "Hey, Iran is helping us to try to beat you," because Clinton's more hawkish than Sanders, and they assumed that Trump wouldn't win. And I believe the Chinese in the general were doing the same kind of thing that Russia did with the false ads, just to a lesser extent for Hillary Clinton.
Right.
But we don't talk about any of that stuff. Now, it is to a lesser extent, but, I mean, Bernie Sanders is on the record saying that we went to the Clinton campaign and they said, if we say this now, it'll undermine the election. But it's like, now after the fact, when Russia did it, it's undermining the election.
I didn't see that. Iran tried to back Sanders because they didn't want to deal with Clinton.
Yeah, because she's hawkish.
Right.
So, and they know any Republican's hawkish, you know what I mean? But they tried to get Sanders to win the primary.
Right.
The same way, you know what I mean? With
I think
it's
probably,
like all this stuff is like all this stuff that we're talking about undermining the election, and they say that there were some attempts on voting machine hacks that can't be proven worked, but it's all memes and fucking false news articles. Like this I think that whole narrative is fucking super dangerous because people are like, they undermined our election. What does that mean? It just means they made a bunch of Facebook accounts and...
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, and I think it's like, if you start unraveling, I bet, Saudi Arabia gives money to the Clintons all the time. That's not a foreign government involved in our elections. I bet every foreign government, someone involved in our elections, and it's the way the fucking game is played. So now, this whole thing has led to a full-fledged impeachment inquiry, right? And I read this stat, 58% of Americans say House Democrats were right to launch an impeachment inquiry of President Trump. And I read that. I'm calling bullshit because I'm willing to bet that 58% of Americans don't even know what impeachment is. They're like, impeachment? Is that for my breath? House Democrat? I don't want those people in my house.
I think the majority of Americans believe impeachment means removed from office. I'd be willing to bet more than 58%
that 58% of Americans are not that in tune with the news cycle that they have a formulated opinion about whether or not there should be an impeachment inquiry.
They asked 1,000 people
that must already be listening to the news or were fed the question in a very specific way.
Picking up a question, picking up the phone, a landline, mind you.
Yeah.
So they're already stupid. and they're picking up a landline, and they're going, "Hey, this is Gallup. You want to talk about the president?" And most people are going to be like, "No," click.
Right.
And then some people are going to be like, "Fuck yeah!" But it's not going to be his supporters,
right?
Because
the people who have the opportunity to,
so you're just going to give this poll, but it's like how the exit polls for this election in 2016, but also Bush's re-election,
right?
Because the people that voted this way don't want to talk to pollsters.
Right.
Like, there's historical precedent for that. So, like polls just mean
you saw,
less and less.
I mean, they couldn't have been more wrong with the polling the last time around.
Well, I mean, do you remember the exit polls from Bush's re-election? Kerry was winning by a landslide.
You mean in exit polls are the polls right before they go to vote?
Exit polls are they're exiting the polls. So they vote and then leave. Who'd you vote for? but it's only people who want to say something to the. And so a lot of people voted for Bush, but because of the negative press Bush was getting,
they didn't want to admit
that they were voting for Bush because of all the negative press he was getting. But this was, I believe, it was right after the Iraq War started, right? That was the end of the first term, right? Am I getting my timeline right, or is it just Afghanistan?
This predates me reading the newspaper.
Wait, the Iraq War? That was 2004. And
so that would be first term. So it was like right after that mess, but before all the evidence came out, but a lot of people were angry at it. But I don't think people trusted Kerry to be as strong with ISIS post 9/11. I think that was a big part of it. But because it was starting to seem like the Iraq War was horseshit, people didn't want to admit they voted for Bush because they thought they were safer under Bush.
Sorry, that was 2003. Isn't there a stat, though, where no sitting president has ever lost an election in wartime? Yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the exit polls during that election showed that Kerry was going to win.
Yeah, nobody wants to admit they're voting for the guy who's bringing them into an illegal war.
All right, so just to go back to the whole impeachment inquiry. So now Trump has somewhat refused to kind of go along with it, which we're going to break down in a second. But the way I understand that thus far is that they haven't actually voted on an inquiry.
By the way, Pompeo is such a red-faced Irish grandfather, like lying about where he is on Christmas when he's just at the bar drinking.
You think he's just a guy who drinks, and
his look is just like such a shyster.
He's got the red cheeks,
the fat rosy cheeks.
Yeah,
he's just like sitting at the bar talking to texting his wife, like, I'm stuck in traffic,
and he's always like a little bit lost about the details on any of these things. Yeah. I haven't seen that much of him, but I
was watching something with him today, and then they started talking about this stuff. He's always
a little bit disheveled, like he's got like a folder in his hand that he's trying to like hold up or whatever.
Well, they cross him. They go like just like in the news, they just say, well, there's no evidence that Joe Biden or Hunter Biden did anything wrong, which there isn't.
Right.
There was no evidence that either of those people did anything wrong, and he just goes, all of you guys keep parading that out there. It's almost like you work for the DNC. Now, this is on PBS he's saying this. I was just like, this dude you didn't need to go that far. Be like, look, there's no, here's how he could have done that. Right. There's no evidence of it because nobody's investigating it.
Right.
Would have been fine. But he's just like this, like, got to be this overblown P.T. Barnum. Look over here, sir. Like, you know what I mean? It's just a fucking nonsense. They're all nonsense people. Like, it really is. Like, just at the end of the day, it was just like, I was like, you had me. They were talking about Turkey. And I kind of got his point on pulling the troops out of the Kurdish region of Syria there. And I kind of got his point. But then they asked him about that, and he was just like, meh, look over here. Oh, a bunny. You know what I mean? Like, it was just fucking nonsense. Like, it's just like, and like, I got his point of pulling out. It was just like, our interests have diverged. We were only working with these people who we shouldn't have been working with because Turkey's a NATO ally and they view them as terrorists, but we were working with them for American interests because they were fighting ISIS. We don't really need to continue to fight ISIS. They're mostly stamped out.
So fuck them.
Yeah. So
that's never take American arms and be like, when they go, hey, we're gonna back you. We just need you to go fight for us for a little bit, and then we'll convince our people. They fuck those guys every single time. Every single time. And
that's
what's
weird. Is like the news is acting like this is new.
Yeah, but isn't that what creates ISIS?
Yeah,
isn't that what we do every time?
Well, it'll be a new ISIS.
Yeah, at some point.
Mexican ISIS.
Yeah.
Mexican ISIS?
Yeah, Mexican ISIS.
Sounds delicious. Comes in like watermelon flavors or something.
It's got chili powder on the top?
Yeah, a little spicy with the sweet mixed together. All right.
I know what we're calling this episode.
The way I understand this, so they haven't voted on an inquiry, but yet they're going, hey, he's not complying with our inquiry. And so what's ambiguous about that is like, so wait, if two people in Congress decide that they want to impeach the president, they could start summoning him and going, he's not complying. Like, I would think there has to be some sort of a rule and standard by which Congress votes, hey, we're all on board with this inquiry.
Well,
that's what
the White House is saying, that they have to do it.
That's what the White House is saying. And that's also where we're back to this. We're inventing rules. How is that not figured out? How is that not a black and white thing? Wait, so can they do an impeachment inquiry? How many people do they need? Well, there's precedent before for impeachment. Or this shouldn't be a new thing.
I believe when Clinton was impeached, the Republicans had both the House and the Senate.
So what, this is the first time?
I remember the vote for impeachment.
But how do you...
but I don't know about I don't remember there being a vote for the inquiry.
How do you not... Right. How is this not thought ahead? Like, if there's going to be a thing called impeachment, and it starts with Congress, so what's the protocol? Can two people start an impeachment inquiry? What does an inquiry mean? To what extent does the White House have... Like, this should not be gray area. It should be very black and white. Hey, Congress votes. If a majority of Congress votes, then they can subpoena the White House, and the White House has to comply. If X amount of people don't vote, like, you know what I mean? There should be no ambiguity
Otherwise,
here.
You can just really have a president answering for everything constantly. If it's... Yeah, if like
there
you said,
should be no ambiguity here. This should be a black and white procedural thing of, here is the procedure for how you impeach a president. It starts with X. Well, do we have the criteria for X? Well, then we can't, you know what I mean? But what you have here is you got this ambiguous thing, and I don't know the way it works. I mean, I'm trying to follow this. So do you need a majority to vote to start an inquiry? Or how many people do you need in order for there to be an inquiry? Is a president obligated to comply with that? So now I want to read just some of some of the things that I've read. So here was the first one. The White House sent House Democrats a letter Tuesday saying it would not cooperate in the impeachment inquiry of President Trump, claiming the investigation lacks legitimate constitutional foundation and any pretense of fairness. Earlier in the day, the White House blocked Gordon Sondland, the U.S. ambassador to the European Union, from testifying to Congress about Trump's effort to pressure Ukraine to investigate former President Joe Biden, a political rival. And I almost think, wouldn't it be weird if they did participate? Can you imagine if your boss was looking to fire you and you're like, all right, we're going to sit down and I'm going to help him see if he can find out some evidence of fireable offenses? Like, we're gonna look through my emails. We know that there's something really terrible that I've done, so we're gonna look together. Now, this is the next funny part. Trump has said that he's holding Congress in contempt of holding him in contempt, which almost feels to me like you're in a courtroom with two gavels. You know, right. The first guy's like ordering the court, and then the next guy's like, "Hey, quit banging things! Quit banging things!"
It's just Harvey Birdman, attorney at law.
Did you watch? I never really watched that show, but it always looks silly.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you know, I loved Venture Brothers. Is one of my favorite show. Well, probably my. I think
that's the best character-driven television show in the last 20 years.
Also, they kind of, I think, things that are now a little bit normal in comedy, they did kind of kickstart.
Yeah.
Firstly, they were early to the superhero landscape. Now, like, superhero and making fun of superheroes is norm. Yeah. They had superhero universe years before Marvel existed.
Very postmodern-y, yeah. It's like, it's good
and
shit.
The fact that it was the ongoing storylines, and I don't know, that tickled my brain in the next way. And the right
character, you get attached to all the characters, even though they're cartoons, and it shouldn't matter.
If you never watched Venture Brothers, here's my top comedies of all time. My personal, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, for the years that it was good, was the all-time best.
Okay.
Venture Brothers comes in number 2. And then I don't know where it goes from there. Oh, The Increasingly Poor Decisions of Todd Market, the first 2 seasons.
That's a great show. I even like the third.
I didn't like the third.
It's not great. It's not great, but the first 2 seasons are fantastic.
The third fell off. The first 2 were
I'll throw you, if you like a British comedy, I'll throw you one. It's hard to find. You're going to have to look for it. There's a show called Ideal about this fat guy who sells weed out of his apartment. 7 seasons, but 6-episode British seasons.
Okay.
Fucking hilarious. Yeah, it just gets weirder and weirder. It all takes place in like this one building.
Yeah.
Starts in one apartment, then the next season they go to another apartment in the building.
Right.
And it's just fucking bizarre. It's a great show.
I gotta say, from there, I don't think I have a ranking. They're just some scattered shows that I've liked.
Yeah.
Which includes Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh yeah.
Community.
Yeah.
Seinfeld's not
Community's, I think, a little underrated.
Well, Community was great until what's his name got fired, and then
first 3 seasons or so.
Oh, Rick and Morty, I love.
Rick and Morty's great. Rick and Morty's probably my favorite shit that's still actively coming out.
Futurama at one point I loved. Early Family Guy.
The first run of Futurama on Fox is great.
Yeah.
And then after that, the early Family Guys, and then that's the thing is a lot of these shows. I'll tell you, like South Park, still fine.
South Park is
it's the only one that still feels like, because it's still the same guys writing it, so it still feels the same.
South Park is I will never say South Park's not funny. I will never say South Park's not brilliant. South Park is not a show that I've watched where I'm like, oh, the new episode's coming out, I got to see it.
You're insane.
And that's like, if I come across South Park and it's on, more often than not, I enjoy it, but I don't feel the compulsion to watch all of South Park.
South Park is the one defining show of our generation, period. It's not The Simpsons. That fell off 15 seasons ago. South Park is 300 episodes in as of last night, 20 seasons in, and it is still relevant, poignant, and getting the same numbers week in and week out in an age where TV has been decimated.
And they still got integrity.
Okay. So now, here's the next thing I kind of like about this impeachment inquiry. So they're doing the inquiry, and they go, "Hey, you have to participate, right?" That's their thing. You have to participate, and it kind of feels to me like it's the taxes thing, where they were like, "Hey, everyone releases them," and he's like, "Well, I'm not going to do that," and they're like, "Well, you have to," and he's like, "Well, who said?" And they're like, "Well, everyone's done that, so it's not fair if you don't." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm from New York, so you really should isn't a thing." You know what I mean? Like, if I have to, I will, but it doesn't sound like I have to.
It is kind of this true thing with like, just like, they're just like, well, everybody else does it. And it's like,
well,
okay.
I'm not going to do it. Yeah. Like, make me.
Yeah.
So it's like, we need
I like how Mike Pence is also just like, yeah, I'm not giving up my taxes either.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, yeah, me too.
Yeah, why not?
Either.
He just broke precedent. Like, maybe this was a precedent where everyone else was just cooperative, and he came along, he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And they're like, oh, fuck, I guess he doesn't have to do it? Yeah.
Of course he doesn't have to. We never had to, because that's like a relatively new thing. That's like that's post-Reagan.
Right.
It's probably post-Bush. I think, you know what I mean? Like, the tax returns thing, I really doubt. It's probably post the first Bush that
and then
they all were doing that.
I'm hoping it goes to the Supreme Court and it's on one of the days when Ginsburg's mouth's not working and she's drooling and someone has to be like, I think that's in our favor. It's rolling out the left side.
She's like the groundhog now?
Yeah, exactly. Drool out the left side for yes, drool out the right, left side for no.
All right, well, I'm not going to say anything funnier than that. I'm going to take off from here.
No. You got to hang out till the end now.
All right.
I got good talk. You're in it till the end.
Oh.
Buckle up, buddy. No leaving.
No?
I got fun topics coming up. We're almost done with the Trump inquiry. You need another beer. I feel like that's what's going on here.
No, I was going to take off around now.
No. Now you're in it. Now you're in it. You're in it till the end.
Let's go.
Buckle up. We're at hour 1.
One beer?
Nah.
There's one beer left.
2 beers?
Bring the man some beers.
Give me a beer.
Bring the man some beers. All right. Here's the last thing on 2 more things on the constitutional crisis. And then we're going to move on to a little bit of the foreign wars and then some more, some softer shit.
All right.
You're going to like what's coming. I promise you. All right. So the next thing I thought I loved was the worst that Congress can do is say that he's in contempt of Congress or anyone who doesn't give testimony, anyone who doesn't respond to like whatever their things are. The worst thing that they can do is say that they are in contempt of Congress. Now, being in contempt of Congress is essentially Congress being mad at you for not showing up. Now, what happens when you are declared in contempt of Congress? It gets passed on to Bill Barr, who can basically go, hey, listen, they're mad at you, so why don't you just not go over there for a little bit? Like that. So that's where like it kind of becomes unraveled of who exactly has power here and who. And then the other thing that's ridiculous is that they're calling it a constitutional crisis.
I don't think this is not a constitutional crisis.
Well, basically, I mean, firstly, a constitutional crisis basically means that perfect document we don't even really follow doesn't cover this specific thing.
Yeah.
That's basically what they're proclaiming.
Okay.
All right. Now, what I like about Trump is that I think he's willing to overlook things. He more will just push back. And the ultimate example of that was, I don't know if in that debate, the Clintons tried to play the card of, hey, Trump does creepy things to women. And he goes, listen, you want to talk about creepy things towards women? Let's talk about what your husband did. And he shot it down because right then and there, Clinton realized, okay, we can't play this card because he's going to come back tenfold. And he kind of made it clear, like, listen, I don't need to get into this, but if you want to get into this, we're going to get into this. So now Clinton's kind of jumping on the train here a little bit of going after Trump for being corrupt. People are saying, hey, maybe she even wants to make a comeback. She wants to run again, which I think would just be...
It's too late now.
It would just be ridiculously boring. It would just be so boring to watch her lose again to Trump. Like, it's just boring.
Well, I mean, if she was going to run, she'd run in 4 years, right?
Nah, why wouldn't she run now?
She's going to jump into the primary now?
Yeah, why not? She can jump in late. How late can you... I don't think you... I don't know.
She could run as an independent.
Yeah, she probably could, too. But that
I think there's going to be an independent candidate running, and I don't think they realize how many... There's a weird thing, is that I don't think Democrats realize how many Republicans, because they just think of them as a monolith.
Yeah.
They don't realize how many Republicans voted for Hillary because they felt like they needed to vote, and they just wouldn't vote for Trump.
Right.
There were a lot, and it was not a reported thing, but I anecdotally knew a bunch, and I've read a little bit about it. There was a lot of never Trump Republicans who voted for Hillary Clinton or a third party candidate. So I'd be like, if you threw a Mitt Romney up there running, you'd be shocked how many votes got pulled from the Democratic Party. Like I honestly do believe
I think
that.
Mark Cuban would win in a landslide.
If as a third party right now?
I can't think of too many other people that if they showed up would just take it down.
Yeah, but he wouldn't do it.
I know he wouldn't do it, but especially if he ran as a Democrat, he would have it. No questions. I think he would just take that down.
You don't think if he ran as an independent, he'd have a
No,
chance?
I think he could also win, but not as easily. Mostly because you just don't have all that money infrastructure. Well, he's got enough money.
Yeah.
How much money you can throw $1 billion at a campaign and be even, basically, with what presidential candidate? I mean, they don't spend more than $1 billion running.
I think no, it's like in the hundreds of millions.
Yeah. So if you want to just throw $1 billion at it, you're at even. You're even. All right. Anyways, so I get the feeling with Trump that now that it's a bit of a race against the clock here. I think the reason why he's pulling us out of Syria is in part that he's been willing to play ball with the military-industrial complex, and now that the CIA is going after him and they're making up these claims of, hey, we were on the phone and there's quid pro quo, and they're working with the Democrats to try and unseat him and try and get him impeached. I think he's going to start pushing really hard and, hey, I want to unravel the Ukraine-Democratic relationship. What went on at the beginning? I think he's going to really. I think he's willing to let things slide unless you pressure him, and then he'll fucking come back hard. And I think that's part of why he finally, out of nowhere, he decided, hey, we're getting out of Syria. I don't think that's by accident. I think
I mean, they've been talking about getting out of Syria for
but
a
I think the
year.
timing is that because they did this, he's like, well, then fuck the military-industrial complex. I've been trying to kind of let you guys do your thing, but if you're going to do that, that's it. No wars.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going on there.
Well, what's crazy is he's going to be the guy he's going to be able to stand on a stage. That's what I think his main thing against Biden will be, is that he's going to be able to stand across from Biden and be like, I'm the first president since Jimmy Carter to not start a new war in my first term, and you voted for the Iraq war.
Yeah.
And he's going to be able to say that about a bunch of people that are, you know what I mean? And it's just, I think he's not going to lose.
I think
in a general election.
So to just want to make this clear, Tulsi Gabbard is pretty much donezo.
I believe so.
She's the only one I've seen.
I thought she could have beat Trump in a general election.
Yeah,
but,
her and Yang Gang are the only two I've
Yang
looked
Gang?
at.
Who the
I don't
fuck is
think
Yang
Andrew
Gang?
Yang can beat Trump in a general election.
No, yeah, he can't.
I don't think I don't think he has it in him. I like the guy, but that dividend is everybody, even people who want that $1,000 think it's retarded.
Bro, I want that $1,000 and I think it's great. Straight up, dude. And there's a lot of guys out there like me, right, who are 30 years and younger who just
Homeless.
hear, yeah, we get fucking
30 years and younger.
Yeah. I'm 31.
Okay.
Listen, Harrington be out
Yeah,
on the street.
they can fucking vote.
He's got his ear to the cement. He's hearing what the underclasses are saying. And $1,000 a month, that gets you a fair amount of heroin. You
Bro.
can fall asleep anywhere, all the time. You don't even have to worry about getting that roof.
Bro, I already hit him up. I
What?
DM'd him. I was like, yo,
Andrew Yang?
let me get that G. Let me
Yeah.
get that G stack, Yang. I know you got it. That's
right.
good.
So to take
To
a
be
look
fair, he thought it was an Asian prostitute.
to take a look at the situation in Turkey, my first thought is it's impressive how many groups you forget about that hate each other out there.
The Kurds?
I didn't even know the Kurds were a thing. I
thought the Kurds were only in Iraq.
I had no idea. It's amazing. It's like I don't know. It's like a constant. I was joking online. It's like a constant Royal Rumble where it's like the fight just always needs to go on.
Yeah.
And then it's like the announcer's like, and now Turkey and the Kurds are going at it. It's constant.
Yeah.
It's almost incredible how much fighting those people, how much they all just hate each other. I didn't even realize there were these two groups. I didn't know this till a week ago. By a week ago, I meant 3 days ago.
So
It might have even been 2 days ago.
haven't the Kurds literally been fighting since they were a people, for thousands of years?
The Kurds
Constantly?
are Jews if Jews were Muslims.
Oh, because
That's the best way to describe the
Even
Kurds.
all the Muslims hate them?
Yeah,
They're
they're the most hated.
They're the Kurds of the Muslims.
Yeah, they're the Jews of the Muslims.
I get it. All right, so here was a quote. What he fails to appreciate, this is about Trump pulling out troops, is the presence of U.S. troops can be what prevents a war from getting bigger and more deadly and more terrible, and then abandoning allies so recklessly will do serious damage to America's ability to fight wars in the future, which, great, I don't want to fight any wars. So that sounds like a working strategy to me. Now, the Kurds are apparently 28 million people without a nation, which kind of sounds to me, it's like a Palestinian-type situation where they're, stuck within these other countries.
No, they're Jews. They're still wandering the desert.
Right. I feel like the Middle East is like a snow globe, and they just need to shake it up. We need an alien to come and just be like, all right, you guys are going to be over here, you're going to be over here, you're going to be over there, no touching anybody else's side. Now, no one's going to do that. I don't think any aliens are going to come to Earth, but it's just amazing how, in this age, there's so many displaced people from a country that they feel like should be there. I don't know. It just seems so. Well, it's the fucking Middle East.
I mean, but countries make no sense anyway.
You mean just generally?
Just generally.
Yeah, well.
The annexation of Crimea makes no sense. I mean, we talked about it a little while ago, but it's like.
Apparently there was a lot of money because Crimea is on that ocean and there's like billions of dollars in natural gas. That wasn't like a little small, hey, we took this little crappy area. That's the same thing with Syria. It's like a major port access for all of the Middle East. What I also heard about Iraq, this is like the geopolitics shit that I don't know much about, but
wasn't there like a massive mineral deposit under Afghanistan?
Yeah, I heard there's a ton of minerals in Afghanistan, but the reason I heard Iraq is so important to the U.S., 90% of the water in the Middle East flows through Iraq with like the Tigris and the Euphrates. So if you control Iraq, you actually control the entire region because you can cut off anyone's water supply. Like that's the most strategic point. And then what I heard further than that is that we, in some ways, actually won World War II because the Germans ran out of gas, like their tanks. They literally ran out of gas.
Okay.
And they were a stronger army, but they didn't have enough gas to literally run their army. And ever since then, we realized, hey, the most important thing is like just controlling the gas stockpiles, which now might be different because you have alternative energies.
I mean, not for a tank.
Well, I mean, we're arming our subs with nukes. We have nuclear technology for subs.
That's true.
So, I mean, I don't know to what extent.
I'd imagine you
can,
could do it for a carrier too then.
Yeah, or...
but here's the thing. You don't want to really have that shit on, like... vehicles, right?
I don't know. I don't know enough about. I got some conspiracy theories rattling in my brain when it comes to nuclear power.
Okay.
Yeah, which I think, and I say this. I think nuclear technology is probably fairly advanced in this day and age.
Okay.
And all this talk that you hear about carbon, if you're really concerned about carbon, nuclear is carbon free.
Well,
now,
I think it's hard to sell nuclear
because of the
less than 6
disasters.
years because of Fukushima.
Well, yes.
I think you could do it with 3 Mile Island and what's the Russian one that gave everybody thyroid cancer?
I'm just saying,
Chernobyl.
At the same time that they say, hey, we can't have nuclear technology, it's too dangerous, the most advanced military technology in the world is powered, a submarine is powered by nuclear technology.
True.
So you have isolated nuclear technology that can just power some small thing, and the most important thing in the world to our government is being powered by nuclear technology. And it's not, you know what I mean? It's not a whole city, it's a little tiny thing. So I mean, how advanced is that technology? Do you have the equivalent of a generator that's nuclear power based that I could just power my building on end? Like, you know what I mean? I have no idea how advanced this technology is, but if government is relying on that for its most important resource, it must be pretty good. But like I said,
Are submarines
I
the government's most important resource?
I would think they're nuclear submarines. That's like most of like if we were to go to war with someone, we're firing nukes at them. I think they're all coming off their submarines. I think they got 3 submarines. They're traveling the globe all the time, and that's what's packed with enough of an arsenal to wipe out everybody. And
they're running on nuke too.
And they're running on nuclear power. I might be talking out of my ass here. I mean, I really might be talking out of my ass.
I know there are a lot of submarines that have nuclear warheads, right?
Yeah. No, I think there's...
And those are also powered by nuclear energy?
Yeah, I don't know why...
Why aren't they powering aircraft carriers with that then?
I think here's the only thing I can think of. Maybe the fact that they're in the ocean has a cooling element.
Oh, because they're underwater.
Maybe, but like now I'm really talking out of my ass. You think I know the science of nuclear technology?
Yeah, all my knowledge of nuclear technology comes from that movie Chain Reaction with Keanu Reeves.
That was good. I like that movie.
It's a terrible movie.
When I was a kid, though, I don't know. That was Morgan Freeman.
You're 2 years younger than me, so I think you're just young enough where you didn't see like this is retarded.
Oh no! And there was the cold bathtub scene, and the walking on the ice, and breaking in last minute as the door's coming down. The door was coming down. He slid under it at the last second.
He did get it.
That was cool as fuck, man.
Yeah.
And Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman and Keanu Reeves in the same movie.
It's incredible to me that Keanu's back on top as an A-lister. He's such a goofball actor. He's just not like... It's not...
Hey, Rob, when was he ever not on top? It's my question.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Keanu has always been on top.
He had a little bit of a lull there
When?
between the Matrixes and Jonathan Wick.
Oh, you mean when he was like fucking being Shane Falco in the motherfucking Replacements?
That was a good movie.
Fucking slinging the ball over the yard in one of the best football movies of all time.
That was a good movie.
I never saw that movie.
But what else? But then he had the Constantine movie.
Yeah, that shit was hot.
Yeah, that was hot.
I liked it too, but people didn't.
There was the one. There was that movie where he was sliding into Sandra Bullock's DMs through the magic mailbox. That shit was kind of tight.
The net?
I didn't see.
Nah, dog. It was like there was like a cabin, and he would just like put letters in a mailbox, and then
the time traveler shit.
She would like send him titties in the mailbox.
I want to get some titties in my mailbox.
When you get mailbox.
Wait, is it Speed 4? Are you talking about Speed 4?
What other movies?
Speed 4. We're on meth.
What other movies?
I'm looking it up right now, dude. He is fucking.
He directed some Asian movie that was terrible, which was his first.
Oh, and they recut
movie.
it with him in it.
Yeah, no, like that was really bad.
Yeah.
And then he made a comeback with the John Wick movies, which are fun, but like
No.
Okay.
They're more than just fun.
Bruh.
whatever.
The John Wick movies are fantastic.
All right.
If you're like, come on. Of all the popcorn horse shit we're putting out as far as movies go,
They're perfect. Get out of
they're
here.
kind of the best of them.
All
Like,
right.
I'll take the John Wick movies over all 20 Marvel movies. Like,
All
if
right.
you had to tell me one of those things was going to disappear, I'm like, give me the John Wick movies.
All right.
Yeah, the only test for me is John Wick versus Fast and Furious.
No, John Wick is far superior.
Only 3 John Wick movies. There's like 10 of them Fast and Furious movies, especially if you count Hobbs and Shaw.
Every one of the John Wick movies.
You know what's great
is
with
equivalent to 4 other
Can I
action
say
movies.
That's garbage.
the Fast and Furious movies? I mean, the first one was like you were in high school. It was dumb, but whatever. There were titties and fast cars. You were kind
There
of
was no
into it.
titties. There's never been
There's
titties.
never titties.
Never once.
PG-13.
No, you weren't
Asses.
saying titties, but you were saying like there was that hot Asian chick
chicks, yeah.
standing in the fucking road. This was pre getting a shit ton of porn
that
days.
tan-ass
That was a
Asian
bit. That
chick.
was a
Hell
big
yeah.
deal. That Asian chick in the middle of the road,
And just
then
great
she
butt
walked
shots.
over to the fucking loser, and she's like, "If you win, I'll blow you in your car." And you're like, "Man, I gotta get myself a fast car, and some hot Asian chicks are gonna blow me."
Hell yeah,
That's
dog.
what you were thinking when you were a kid. I mean, obviously that wasn't true.
That's what all those Asian kids were thinking. That's why they kitted out those Honda Civics.
yeah,
Got the neon lights in the bottom and shit.
they really invested
Yeah,
themselves in that.
You're like, yo, if I put these neon lights in the bottom of my car, some chick will blow me inside.
Yo, so
Yeah.
check this out. Keanu, after the fucking Matrix movies,
Is that
right?
the proper enunciation? of his
Keanu?
name?
Who cares, man? Yo, 2003, he does Matrix Revolutions. After that,
Okay.
Something's Gotta Give, underrated Jack Nicholson comedy.
Never saw
No
it.
idea what that is.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is.
He was in something called Ellie Parker with his band Dog Star. So he was just out there touring, living that rock star
Oh yeah,
life.
he was in a band for a while.
All right.
Hell yeah. Constantine, shit was hot. Scanner Darkly, shit was
Scanner
hot.
Darkly was hot.
I
Dog.
didn't see that.
It's Philip K. Dick. It's what's that called? A cell shaded movie. It's pretty good.
It's
Okay.
like Waking Life.
It's
or
better
that,
than Waking Life.
Or that, yeah, but I'm saying that style of animation.
Yeah.
That new one, Undone, on Amazon Prime. Watched the
Yeah.
first episode of that last night.
Okay.
Pretty tight.
We hit one of the autistic nerves in Harrington here.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah, okay.
Street Kings.
Didn't
Street
see
Kings
it.
was all right.
You
I
can't
like
fuck with Street Kings, dog.
I like Street Kings.
Yo, he had the money in the wall.
There was another movie that came out
Biker
the
Boys?
same year as Street Kings. Hold on. There was another movie that came out
I didn't
the
see
same
any
year
of
as
these.
Street Kings that was trying to be like Street Kings, but it was like trying to be artsy Street Kings with Joaquin Phoenix, and that shit sucked.
It wasn't Biker Boys.
No. There was a movie that came out the same year as Street Kings or around that time with Joaquin Phoenix. We Own the Night or some fucking
Oh,
shit.
that shit with Mark Wahlberg when
That
Mark
shit was
Wahlberg's his
whack.
brother.
Yeah, that shit was whack.
Yeah, but you get to see Eva Mendes titties though for the first time.
That's all right though.
That shit was aight.
But that shit was fucking whack.
That shit was aight.
And then fucking Street Kings came out and it looked like the same movie, but then Street Kings was fire.
Yo, but they had the money in the walls.
Exactly.
All
Yeah,
right,
shit was
all
hot.
right. I've heard about
Um,
Money in the Walls now 4 times. What else do you got?
All right, The Day the Earth Stood Still remake, solid.
Can I just say I like
40
the first The Day the Earth Stood Still, the black and white. I don't know why I randomly saw that.
I've
when
actually never seen that, but it's a
Great.
great premise for a film.
Great movie.
Klaatu Barada Nikto still raises
But-
the hairs on the back of my neck.
Yeah, I didn't really like the second one, but the first one I thought was an incredible movie.
Okay.
That's very artsy of me. you know?
FYI, after that,
yeah.
47 Ronin,
Yeah, that was the shit one.
the samurai movie.
Yeah, that was the shit one.
That was the one that I never saw that, but
That
it
shit was hot.
universally panned.
Nah, shit was
But
hot.
that's
Man.
based on
You just love him.
Dog. There was
a Stan Sakai comic
47 Ronins.
All right, all right.
that's
all right. What
that's
else?
a folklore thing.
What else? Move on. I
And
don't
then
care.
immediately after that, John Wick.
But John Wick, he must be making serious money on because he's producer director too. I think.
Yeah, and he's the executive producer of the
Yeah.
TV show that's coming out for Showtime.
Oh,
He's on it,
he's making like how much? All right, how
Yeah,
much
he-
you want to guess he's worth?
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah,
Let's say $150 million.
yeah. I was thinking 200. 200's high, but I'm going to go high.
He was definitely getting points for that. He was definitely getting points for The Matrix too.
But
I'm gonna say celebrity net worth will put him between 150 and 200 million dollars.
Yeah, but I'm thinking if you look at it, it's probably more John Wick money because you get backloaded. Like when you start really,
I don't know, man. The Matrix
things,
was the biggest fucking movie of all time.
Yeah, but he was just in it.
It was literally the.
Yeah, but if you get any merchandise points for that,
No,
which
but
I'm
he
sure
probably didn't.
he was a big enough star at that time. He could have asked for at least
Maybe.
I mean, dude, Jack Nicholson made $85 million on Joker in 1989.
And you know
Really?
he sued
Yeah.
DC Comics for more money.
For real?
He said that they owe him money because his portrayal of the Joker raised Batman sales of the comic. Now, the Batman movie raised the Batman sales, but every time a movie comes out, every time a comic book movie
He was
comes
the
out,
second
the sales
Batman
go up.
movie, right?
First one.
The first one.
He was the Penguin was in that one also though.
No,
Penguin's in
Penguin
the
was the
second
second
one with Catwoman. It's
Oh.
Batman Returns.
What was the?
And
Okay.
Walken was the guy in the second one you're thinking of, maybe.
Yeah.
Who was the Batman in the first one? It was also
It was Michael Keaton in those first two movies,
yeah?
and then Val
Okay.
Kilmer was the next Batman.
Yeah, the Val
after that.
Kilmer one was weird.
That was the Riddler.
He ain't no Batman.
John Wick, $360 million is his estimated net worth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. We
Yeah,
both
dog.
were down. I win according to Price is Right rules.
Yeah, you definitely.
Have more faith in Keanu.
All right. Moving on, I want to talk about that little girl from The Exorcist who spoke at the UN a couple weeks ago.
The porridge
haven't-
face.
We have not. Porridge face. That's great.
Yeah. Does she look like she's stealing some shit from
Yeah,
some
that
bears?
is
Look at her.
great.
That's a porridge face bitch right there.
Oh, did you come up with that?
Yeah, she's a porridge
That is
face bitch.
great. Porridge face. Okay, so play this because I thought this was great, and then
Kind of
let's
looks
get
like
into
a
it.
fish right there where Harrington stopped it for the.
My message is that will be what you know. This is so hard. Rushing on here. Must be back in school on the other side of the ocean.
Actually, someone did a better version of
Young
this.
people for hope.
Yeah, this is someone did a better version of this. All right.
I hate this.
Okay, go lay it on me.
I like hate her.
Okay.
Like, and I believe in climate change. I'm not one of
Okay.
these guys who doesn't believe in climate change. But it's just like, why am I supposed to listen to this little girl? First of all, actually, Harrington, can you try to find? There was an interview with her on the PBS NewsHour, and they ask her if they go, "Do you think your autism like makes you more in tune with this?" And she's like, "Probably." I was like, "Shut the fuck up! Autism is not a superpower."
Right.
We all believe in climate change.
Dog,
you
I seen The
fuck-
Predator.
Yeah, we all believe in climate change. You fucking jerk off. Like, do you not believe in climate change, Robbie? I know you're not allowed to say that on the other podcast.
No, I'm going to say I'm a skeptic, but we don't have to get into that.
No, but like
whole,
you believe that there's a look. Here's
No, I'll tell you what I believe.
Okay.
I'll tell you what I believe.
Let's go.
I don't think that people should just be allowed to pollute and that there should be no price for pollution.
No, yeah, that's why I got my heart ring.
I do not believe that scientists are so smart that they've figured out models that they can prove that climate change is caused by carbon and that there's going to be disastrous
Oh, you found the
effects.
quote.
Yeah, humans are social animals. We follow the stream, and since no one else is behaving like this is a crisis, we think we see that and we think then I should probably believe as they do, Thunberg said. I'm on the autism spectrum. I don't usually follow social coding, and so therefore I go my own way. I respect that 100%.
You respect.
Yes, I do. I think that there is a certain thing where it's like, yo, if you believe that we are just lemmings walking off of a cliff and your autism is the one thing making you question lemming mentality, then yeah,
No,
sure.
but you have to see like in the video. There's a video of this, and they go, "Do you think this makes you more in tune with climate change?" And that like they've changed this.
But yeah, I mean, come on, dude. We're talking about interviewing a little girl with autism, seeing her say it versus reading those words in print. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, what I want to know is where do they find these child actors and who's writing their speeches? Because this is almost as convincing.
She's a crisis actor.
Yeah, this is almost as convincing as the things I've seen after those school shootings. You know, when they're all like, "Oh, and someone got shot," and you know, this is good. This is child acting at its best. Somebody finds these fucking people, and I also love this. What you were saying that scientists are like, we've been listen, we've been talking about these risks for years. They didn't believe us, and they're like, all right, well, we got an angry girl here. Like, let's convey all important messages through small children. Like, I think that should be the next thing. We'll do an America's Got Talent for outrage.
What's a weird thing is like all the previous climate models though just didn't. Like, I believe that something is going on, but they've missed their mark a bunch. You know what I mean? And I just think it's not going to be reduction. That's not going to be what solves climate change. It's never going to be where like there's going to be some geoengineering.
Yes, there's no,
like it's like they have like a bunch of different ideas. Like you can literally genetically modify crops that are already genetically modified to just be shinier.
Right.
And cool the earth half a degree.
You mean to reflect all the light?
Yeah,
basically.
But you know what I mean? Like, there's like lots of there's you can just put what the fuck is it? Sulfur dioxide or silver dioxide or silver oxide?
We can just fart more.
Released when volcanoes erupt.
Okay.
And every time a massive volcano erupts,
it's like 10 times the amount of carbon that we do in 100 years.
No.
Oh,
it reduces. It's not carbon. It reduces the temperature because it's silver oxide in the air and reflects sunlight.
Right.
But it's just in the atmosphere. It's like small particles that we would never notice.
Right.
But the Earth cools after something like that. And like, there's stuff that people have been researching for decades that if this continues to be a problem with warming,
we'll figure it out.
One of those things is going to be the thing.
Yeah.
Like with China and India.
Well, put it this way: the economic
giving up,
the economic consequence of taking us off fossil fuels will lead to fucking starvation and people fighting in the streets.
Yeah.
And the idea that science isn't going to come around.
This
and
chick
find,
is taking a fucking solar powered boat for 6 weeks from Sweden to here.
It's pretty cool.
Really, you want to be on a boat for 6 weeks?
What?
It's not a dope ass Carnival cruise solar powered trip. She's on a fucking. Do you see the boat she showed up in?
No.
Google image that, please.
Maybe that's why she's so mad.
Yeah, that's why she's so ornery. She's been on a fucking boat for weeks.
So anyway, I want to go back to what I was saying. This new standard of us going on outrage. It's like take that to its extreme. You're going to start competing to see who can be more outraged.
Look, this is our boat. You got to be on that from fucking
nice.
From Sweden to America.
That looks like a nice boat.
That's a nice boat for fucking weeks.
It's a sailboat.
Yeah, it's a sailboat.
You want to be on a fucking tiny sailboat for weeks?
bro.
It's not a yacht.
Wait, let me.
That's not dope for 6 weeks.
Yo, but it's got the fins though, B.
I'm not into that
Look at them
boating
fins.
lifestyle, but people that love being out on the water and on the ocean, I've seen rich people with small ass boats. They just love the water. They love being out there. Now that sounds horrible to me. I'm claustrophobic. I want some fresh sandwiches. I don't want to be shitting in some bucket and dumping it out in the morning.
She wants people to not be taking planes, dude.
Yo, it's like a 60-foot sailboat. That's a fucking big ass boat.
Yeah, that thing is expensive as fuck. That's probably like $1 million boat. You know how much carbon
I'm sure
goes
it's an
into building
expensive
that?
boat.
I don't think it's a mill. 60-footer?
it's not
60-footer is not a mill.
It's not $1 million, but it might be $100,000.
Hold
Might
on.
be.
Pull up a picture of the actual boat again, not this diagram.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm just going through the. Okay.
That doesn't look like
Yo,
a boat that bitches be sunbathing on.
By the way, I love how
That's some rich people shit right there.
I love how on this whole infograph thing, one of them is just has Asperger's. Like they're just hammering that home.
Yeah, come on, man. That is not a 2-week boat.
No,
I don't want to be on that boat for
Dog,
2 weeks.
That is a nice ass boat. I don't want to be on any boat for 2 weeks. I don't want to be on a fucking Carnival cruise for 2 weeks, making diarrhea in my room for 6 of them, and I don't know what you do for the rest of the
You
cruise.
could comfortably take that boat to Australia.
Yeah, that's a nice ass boat, dude.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comfortably?
Yes.
I mean, how often do I agree with Harrington?
A good friend of mine, I grew up in Larchmont, which is like, rich people sailing central. My buddy's dad had set the world record going from it was like America to
And I
Fiji.
bet his pussy smelled terrible after.
Okay. I mean, it's a grown man. He does all right for himself.
I'm just saying, I'm sure his pussy smelled awful.
Can you look up the living quarters of that boat? I bet even that's kind of nice. I mean,
okay.
that doesn't look that nice right there.
Okay.
And while you find that, I'm going to continue with this joke. An America's Got Talent for outrage. And you get some kid out there to discuss starvation in Yemen, but he's all hungry, so he can't give a good performance. And so they give him a 6, and Yemen doesn't get the funding it needs. Or they can do like the Outrage Olympics. You get this kid, and she's all depressed, so she's got a lot of sadness to tap into. Of course, you get some parents of a dead soldier. That's a classic. You get the point.
But here's the thing. It's all right, so Barney Frank is a guy who's a liberal with, I would say, a high level of integrity, right?
Okay.
We can agree on that, right?
I don't know him at all.
You don't know Congressman Barney Frank?
And I feel like I've heard the name. You'd have to pull up a picture.
I think, he's a He's a big fat gay looking weirdo.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it looks pretty terrible.
Bro, I'm homeless. I live there in a heartbeat.
Sweet. You would rather a home than no home. Great, Harrington. That's fucking super interesting. That is way less nice than my apartment. That's way less nice than Robbie's apartment, which isn't as nice as my apartment.
Yeah, but whatever, yo. Like if you're gonna be in transit, nowhere you can't stand up inside. Is that
But
better?
it's got a deck on the ocean.
Is that better or worse than a plane seat?
That is worse than a plane premium economy.
Wait.
Premium economy. That's not even fucking business class.
You want to spend 2 weeks in a plane seat?
An international plane seat?
Eating peanuts?
I don't want to do
For 2
any
whole
of that.
weeks?
I'm just saying, look at my man is chilling here. He's got the recliner going.
All right, I've had enough of this
Look
fucking
at
boat
this.
talk.
This is glorious.
All right, next topic I wanted to talk about was, did you see the story about Robert De Niro being sued for like $15 million from his personal assistant?
No. What did he do?
Okay,
He
so
fucked her?
No, he didn't. He basically saying that he was abusive. Well, we'll give it a second before we play the audio. Now, I've always heard about Robert De Niro that he doesn't talk to people and that he's very shy. I don't think he's shy. I think he's an angry motherfucker, and he's exactly the way he is on film, and he's 10 seconds away from losing it on you. But now, if you were to work for Robert De Niro, I would assume I'm going to get paid pretty well to work for a miserable yelling prick.
Yeah.
I would assume that's the job. And then I would assume...
Well, I'll tell you, this
Yeah.
is an anecdote thing, right? Robert De Niro being a prick. They filmed Bronx Tale right by my dad's restaurant. So he just like sent the dishwasher over and was like, just tell Robert De Niro if he wants to come in with a couple of friends. You know, he said basically your chick and like, you know, a couple of friends, 6 people. We'll comp the whole meal. And he just goes, nah, you got to pay for the entire crew. It's like 150 people. They're filming a fucking Bronx Tale.
Right.
He's like, no. We offered you a dinner for 6 for free, 5 blocks from where you're shooting, if you'd like it. And the guy's like, nah, I'll come in, but you got to comp everybody in the whole production. He's just like, just say no.
Right.
Like, you just want to bankrupt a guy? Like
150
Yeah.
people at a
Yeah.
small local restaurant. It's not going to
Yeah.
happen. Yeah. So anyways, but now what's funny to me is that this chick's complaining about this. If I were to receive this voicemail, it would make my life. So play it, Mr. Harrington.
And you fucking upset with me because you tell me how nice you have it, your life over there, and you fucking don't answer my call? How dare you? You're about to be fired. You're fucking history. How dare you? With all the good things you do, this is bullshit. After Christmas, fuck this. How dare you fucking disrespect me? How much you did? You want a fucking another position? You want another position? Then say you want another position. Go off somewhere. But don't fucking get angry with me because I'm pissed off because I didn't get a simple thing that I need right now here out in California when I'm here for less than 24 hours. You gotta be fucking kidding me, you spoiled brat. Fuck you. So quit whatever you want. God damn it. How could you fucking say you don't answer? You're upset because you're living in Spain. You spoiled fucking brat.
Tell me that wouldn't make your life to get messages like that from Robert De Niro.
he sounded pretty drunk.
I would love, but it's just hilarious.
Yeah.
That's like living in a Scorsese film. Listen here, you Jew motherfucker, you.
That wasn't even that bad.
Nah.
Just like, and I don't
That's
know
'cause
what
we work with Gomez.
Yeah, that's true. And I also don't know what preceded that.
Well, no, I don't know either.
like
Also,
there's-
pull up her face. She just has a face that you want to yell at. I mean, she should be used to it by now in life. And there's the picture.
I mean, I had a guy who used to work at my place, and I would be like, I just texted him once. I was like, hey, did you move the remote for the TV? No, it was late at night. It was when I got home from working in the kitchen, right?
Right.
I was like, did you move my remote? And he complained to everyone we knew that I was a piece of shit for texting him about a remote.
Right.
And I was just like, I just couldn't find the remote and thought I was crazy. And I was like, hopefully he put it somewhere or saw it. He was in the house earlier when I wasn't there. This dude spazzed. I was just like, all right. Like, I just like, he was like putting up some shelves for me. And I was just like, hey, did you by chance move my remote? Because I couldn't find it to save my life. And I was throwing a Hail Mary pass. You know what I mean? Like one of those. And like he complained, like some people are just like, who the fuck knows what the fuck he even asked her for that she
Right.
was furious about?
Right.
Like, who the fuck, like people are fucking crazy.
Yeah, tell me you wouldn't yell at that lady. Is she a lizard? Is she a dude?
She looks like the
chick?
lost member of Hanson.
Yeah.
She looks like Tarzan with an eating disorder. What the fuck is wrong with this bitch?
Like a tadpole that just came out of water.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Was converted. All right. Well, maybe she'll find a new job.
Is she Dutch and fucking Icelandic together? Because those are the only two fucking... Ugh.
She looks like, you ever watch Mr. Robot?
Yeah.
I was going to say the Tyrell Wellick's sister.
All right. Next
Very
topic.
masculine.
She looks
face.
like Kato Kalin.
I don't know any of these people.
Kato Kalin? He lives
Who's
in
Kato Kalin?
O.J. Simpson's pool house.
That sounds like it must have been fun. Get to hear all the screams and shit.
He was definitely black.
Kato Kalin was not black.
Yeah, you
Bet
sure?
you $100 right now. Set unseen. Set unseen.
Put it on. Put it up.
I'm not taking that. No. Bro, you think I got $100?
No.
Thank you.
But I would just get you to do some errands for me to work off $100.
Oh, yeah. All right, I see it now. You're right.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Wait, I've seen that guy in movies, haven't I?
He's been in a bunch of stuff since he's testified in the OJ trial. He was here's what's crazy. Imagine you're a struggling actor, so you're working as a waiter. That's him.
He looks pretty handsome.
You're working as a waiter because you're a struggling actor. Then because your landlord murders a guy, and
Now you're on the national
his
stage.
wife, now you can get acting work. That's gotta just suck.
So, who was the black
Everyone
guy
needs
then?
their break somehow.
You're thinking of O.J. Simpson.
No.
He was the black guy.
No. Who
Al
was
Collins?
His, no, his boy, like Roddy Roddleson or
Oh,
something.
Al Collins.
Was it?
Yeah. Right?
Alec Collins. All right, I want to talk about that Amber Geyer chick who this lady shot the guy. She thought she was
the
in
cop.
her apartment.
A.J. Cowlings.
Really, she was in the other dude's apartment. Got 10 years. Wait, that's her name? No, that's the guy's name. Her name was Amber Geyer, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
She was the Guyver.
She was the Guyver.
You remember the Guyver from Sci-Fi Channel?
No.
Back in the day?
I thought you were making a MacGyver joke.
No, the Guyver.
I think we need better protection in this country for spazzes. I get how that happens. Like when I hear about people that leave their kids in cars, I'm like, I would do that.
My buddy Ray once woke up in a jail cell, and apparently he had been banging on a random door saying, "Hey, I forgot my keys. Let me in, let me in." He was 2 blocks from his house.
Really?
Yeah.
I was like, you want to know what's proof of the fact that you shouldn't be driving? I was once in a car in Queens with my friend, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't start the car. And it's like 2 a.m, and after 10 minutes, we realized we were in someone else's car. When we got into my car, did we just drive home? You know it.
I've done that. I've done it a number of times where I just like my girlfriend at the time had just gotten like a new black car, and
Yeah.
it, like she was gonna like pull in front of the house to like grab me or whatever, and I just sat into shotgun of another different black car.
I've done that.
Can I
I've
just
done
say,
that.
I mean, we were a full 2 blocks away from where I had parked the car, and it's one of the hardest I ever laughed was when I turned to him, I'm like, oh, we're in the wrong car, and like all of a sudden, like when it's like a paradigm shift where like your illusion, you're like, how did we even end up in this car? Like, what the fuck were we thinking? That we just got in here, we sat down. No, that's why, listen, I'm a putz, I'm a spaz myself, and if you are, don't own a gun. Like, I'm all for going, I'm Mr.
She was a cop.
Well.
Yeah, she had just worked a 13-hour shift, and apparently she was like sexting. So she was like mad distracted when she was like walking in the crib.
Oh, she was all boned up. It's not her fault.
And she was still in uniform.
It
She was
sucked.
all hot and bothered.
10
Here's the
years
thing: she
is,
walks into a black guy's house, and I mean, it seems like she should have probably blown the guy. I mean, it seems weird that she shot him.
Right?
And
She
by
was
the
just-
way,
What a racist!
can we
you know
just
what I
say,
mean?
for all this, like, hey, this is racial, when you accidentally murder someone, your first thought must be, please let it be a white guy. Please let it. Fuck, it's a black guy. Do you know how much trouble I'm going to be in?
Shit,
Dude,
if this is a white guy, I could probably.
If this is
get
a
off.
white guy, I could have just said, hey, I don't know, he frightened me. I can't say that about a black guy.
You just looking at a dead black guy. I'm like, damn, if this guy was white, it wouldn't even be on the news.
Yeah, I would have been fine.
Yeah.
I killed. All right. Now,
Yeah, to be fair though, you know how many times departments like, wipe that under or brush it under the carpet in the 70s and 80s? Like, walking to the wrong house, you killed a black kid. It is what it is. You know?
Sure. There was a guy who threw a flashbang grenade into a 3-year-old's crib as the wrong house.
Yeah, 2 weeks, no pay.
all right. Now, we're coming to the home stretch here. Only 4 more topics.
Oh.
All right. I want to play the clip of Hillary Clinton talking about the bravest thing she's ever done. Have you seen this?
Oh, stay with her husband?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it.
All right, roll the tape.
Very good company.
We're about out of time, but can I ask you, what's the gutsiest thing you've ever done?
Boy, I think the gutsiest thing I ever done, well, personally, make the decision to stay in my marriage.
All right, pause it for a
Publicly,
second. So firstly, fake news. The bravest thing she's ever did is when she
She
built
ducked
that.
all those bullets when she was getting to the helicopter in Africa.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
very
yeah.
brave.
That was
of her.
very brave of her.
That was very brave of her, and she still was able to tell about it on the world
Yeah,
stage.
exactly.
You know what?
That was the bravest thing
That's
she ever
clearly
did.
the bravest thing. I was
Yeah.
going to say the bravest thing
She's
she ever
dodging
did.
bullets. She got all fucking John Wick.
There
in
were
the fucking-
snipers out there, and she was able to dodge
Yeah,
the bullets.
wah-wah-wong.
That was incredible. I was going to say the bravest thing she's ever done is when she built that child Chelsea in a lab. She gave her the mouth of a gopher. That takes some bravery. Or
That's true.
you know what else was very brave of
Yeah,
her?
Chelsea does look like her upper lip opens up to consume more
like-
vegetables.
Or here's the other thing she did that was really brave. I mean, people.
Got a fucking llama face. Jesus fucking. Be careful, she spits.
I'd still smash.
people.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Mostly for the
You
story.
smash and go, why didn't you fuck a black guy, you racist?
Yeah.
Remember they told her that? Do you remember when some girl like confronted Chelsea Clinton and
Yeah,
was like,
yeah. The
"You're a
Muslim thing.
racist"?
No, they said that her attitude. Yeah, it was the Muslim, like whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember. I don't remember the specifics, but I remember the
Yeah,
incident.
yeah. It was just like, yeah, your whole existence is racist.
And she's like, I'm sorry that you feel that way. All right, here's the other really brave thing she did. I mean, people hate her, and she ran in a popularity contest to become president. She's the world's most unlikable person, and she decided
pretty
to
brave.
run. That is brave. You know what's not brave? When your husband's the most powerful person in the entire world, and he cheats on you, and you go, you know what? I might as well stay in this marriage because he's really powerful, and it comes with a lot of perks. That is the least. You know what's brave is going, you know what? Fuck it. I'll go make it on my own. I'm going to leave this piece of shit. That's called being brave.
She moves into a 1-bedroom.
Yeah, to make it on her own. That's called bravery. That's called standing up for women when you're like, listen, we don't need to be treated this way. So even though
she gets a secretary job at a local news station, throws her hat in the air.
and rebuilds herself and takes some shit from other people. That's called being brave. Staying with your powerful husband is called not bravery.
Yeah, I get to live in. Well, I could leave you, but then I'd have to move out of this mansion.
Exactly. And this amazing lifestyle. Okay, now continue the tape because let's look at the daughter's answer. Now, keep in mind the daughter just wrote a book about brave thing. You would think that she might get answered this question. So you'd think she'd be prepared for it. Roll the
Her
tape.
main thing was waking up with that face every day.
Yeah, that should have been her answer.
She didn't go full Muslim.
Waking up knowing that my parents murder children.
Politically, run for president and keep going. Just get up every day and keep going.
I love it. Chelsea, how about you?
Oh, goodness. I think I'm so overwhelmed by my mother's answer that I'm a bit out of words. And I'm just so proud to be her daughter.
All right, pause right there.
My most important.
How great is that? She brain farted. She's done nothing brave in her entire life other than live off her parents' wealth. She has zero answer. She goes, well, because I get to be her mother and I get to have kids. And this is trained political theater where they're like trying to show off their love as mother-daughter and how they hang out. It's like Gilmore Girls. It's the Clinton daughters and we get along and we love each other. And I mean, that's just the lowest moment. They wrote a book on bravery. What's your bravest? Well, I just get to be a mom now and I get to love my mom. And don't we all just feel really good about that? Sickening.
Yeah, she's doing all right though, Chelsea Clinton.
She's making some money. All right, Gary Goldman special. Did you guys watch it?
Did not watch it yet.
Bruh.
Yeah?
Bruh.
Lay it on me. I'm not going to hate, but you lay it on me first, and then I'm going to give one little take, but you lay it on me first.
I am genuinely concerned for Soder special.
You mean
Why?
that...
Oh, 'cause it's coming out on HBO.
HBO has not. I have not seen a comedy special through HBO.
No, Julio Torres. You didn't like that?
I didn't see that yet. To be honest
I'm
with you.
joking. It was not good.
Okay, I'm assuming trash, but like I would take. Here's like I think HBO has a good enough eye for talent to get Goldman and get Soder, who I've seen level in New York. I've seen Gerard do really well. I've seen Drew Michael do really well.
They just keep doing these concept
artsy,
specials.
yeah.
Well, do you know what the Julio Torres? Do you know what this was?
I
No.
didn't see it,
Can we watch the trailer?
Sure, but can I comment on the Goldman thing
Sure,
first?
please.
And then we'll...
I think we should get back into the Goldman thing because I want to talk about it.
You want to... So
I
you want
just
to watch
think
the
you should
Torres
just.
thing first?
It's like a minute, and it's
Okay.
it's really just this is what HBO just as a
By the way,
an idea for
Torres,
people.
Torres is one of, in my opinion, I don't know one word of his comedy. He might be the funniest person ever. However, he strikes me like he's one of the...
He writes good sketches for SNL.
Oh, all right, then fine. He strikes me like
he's an
one
SNL
of the,
writer?
the
Yes.
darling childs of, hey, this guy is gay. And like, okay.
No, I remember The Ringer. Actually, he was on Bill Simmons' show. They gave him a shout out when he in his first season writing for SNL.
Yeah, he writes good sketches.
And I went back and I checked out the sketches he wrote, and he's an incredible writer.
Yeah. But they gave him a stand-up special, and this is what he did with it. And this is why I haven't watched the Goldman thing yet, because I heard it's like a concept special, and I don't want to watch a fucking concept special. And this was his stand-up special for HBO.
All right, let's see it.
Hi. I have a lot of shapes, but not a lot of time, so we have to start immediately. I have often been called too niche, to which I'll say, I have no idea what you could possibly be talking about. This next shape that I need to show you, this is me coming in late for a meeting and immediately chiming in. Notice what happens to this shape once you begin to expand on the same basic principle of it. All of a sudden, it turns into Tilda Swinton's apartment. This is where the guests sleep. And this tells them when it's time to go home.
So it's the world's worst pop comedy act.
It's called My Favorite Shapes.
I have also made their shadows and their souls.
It's like gay artsy Carrot Top.
So that's what HBO is kind of doing with stand-up specials.
I don't even know what that is. All right. Well, Gary Goldman, I mean, legendary stand-up comic. Everybody loves the guy. He did an entire thing on depression. They kind of cut in, the equivalent of like podcast moments. Sure.
Dude, here's my thing. I saw him when he was working on this material about a year.
I saw him at New York Comedy Club recently, and some of the shit was killing. It was super funny.
Dude, when he did your show, I was on that show. It was he's the best joke writer.
Right.
Like even his last album, which came out like 3 years ago or whatever, I listened to it maybe a couple months ago.
Yeah.
It's fucking hysterical.
He's never been my guy. The cookie bit's pretty amazing.
No, it's like,
he's just not my...
obviously the cookie bit.
Well, no, I mean, I'm trying to remember, has he talked about it on his album about Jewish parents, like pointing out like there's never been a Jewish hockey player, therefore his parents, like he is... He has like gone into some shit that has just made me like fall in the fucking floor laughing.
I think he like just finds things that are next. It's like, these are funny, but you don't know why they're funny. And he just like, dude, I remember seeing that like Helvetica documentary years before he talked about it. He's got a great joke about the documentary about the font Helvetica. And I just like kind of tried to make fun of it, but I just don't have it in, it came out years ago, but I just didn't have it in me to like, the dude wrote like a 10-minute destructive bit. You know what I mean? I just don't want to watch a documentary about how that guy is sad.
He also leveled on the naming of the states, like all that. Like
that was the same bit.
Yeah,
his shit, into that.
His shit is legendary. Yeah. But I remember, like, what I was saying was I saw him at the Cellar about a year and a half ago, right when I started working for the Skank. So, like, 2 years ago, right when he was first starting to work on this, like, heavy depression material, when he was clearly still in the throes of it, and just him breaking down what a day in his life dealing with depression sounds like is arguably the funniest 17 minutes on the subject I've ever heard, right? Like going to Dunkin' Donuts and like rewarding yourself, and it's like the handle is a giant D, which tells you exactly what you're dealing with, and like just like all the shit that only Gary Goldman makes work. This special had maybe 5% of those jokes, and I laughed at every one of them despite having heard them before because he's just that damn good. The actual jokes in his special about like millennial literally and all that, like that was all gold. I would say 30% of his special I sincerely enjoyed. The other 70% I was just like, what weird art piece are we doing here?
It's a documentary, right? It's mostly
like quasi-documentary.
It's not mostly. It's like it starts with stand-up. It's stand up for 60 to 70% of the time, but the cutaways just completely take you out of it.
I didn't like it when Seinfeld did
it's
it.
good.
And I knew those bits.
All right, listen, I don't want to comment on his comedy. There were some hilariously funny bits, and he's also respected as being one of the funniest comedians. He does a chunk in there where he talks about all the meds that he's taken in his life. I want to say it's a laundry list of at least 14 medications.
Sure.
He talks about all the therapy that he's done in his life, and then he goes, what about the side effects? Now, for new people to the show, we did a whole episode with the pharmacist a couple weeks ago talking about depression and medication for it, and we said if you're thoroughly depressed, go ahead and take medication.
Ketamine.
Well, he actually does talk a little bit about ketamine. But anyways, he goes through this list of shit that he takes, 13 medications. He goes, like, people talk about the side effects. He goes, well, listen, if I didn't take this, then, I couldn't even, forget diarrhea. I wouldn't even be able to get out of bed. But, the inverse of that to me is you've spent now 20 years of your life invested in this process of defeating your depression while using these meds. And you came 20 years full 20 years invested in trying to treat your depression while using medication and seeing the therapist, and then you ended up in an insane asylum at what was a pretty good, decent point in your career. That to me is proof of the fact that structure does not work. That in some way spending every day invested in this reality of, hey, I'm depressed and I need to, that all builds the reality of, hey, depression's this real thing and I need to be coddled and I need to take care of it. If anything, spending your entire life on medication and then still not having a perfect fix and needing to find new or different medications would be proof to me of, at the beginning of a depressive cycle, when they say, hey, I want to recommend medication, to me, that's I really better second guess this, because this is going to be an entire life of this, and it's not even a perfect system. There's got to be some other thing that I can explore to be beating this thing.
Well, I think the joke there obviously was, if I'm not mistaken, the side effect of depression is, suicide. So anything is better than that. Right. And it's okay, I get where you're coming from. And this is something that you do need to tackle. And this is something that you do need to deal with clearly. You can't just ignore the problem. You know what I mean? I do like the idea of that holistic approach that we were talking about of surrounding yourself with winners, setting goals, and then going to achieve those goals. But Gary did all that and he still was dealing with that shit. So
yeah, but I'm saying it's hard to. If a person's been fucking with their brain chemistry for 20 years and medications, it's hard.
For all you know, you give a couple months off.
No, I'm not even saying a couple months off. For all you know, you fucked with the guy's brain chemistry to the point where it's
this is worse now.
This is worse now.
Yeah.
And it could have been at the origin if you created some better habits and some better mental tools for sidestepping your depression. No, listen, there's no proven model, but I'm just saying, to listen to a person who's been taking medication for their entire life and go, well, I need this medication, and that's why if you're a person, you should clearly be taking this because it helps. To me, you're the exact proof of that it's not helping, that after 20 years, it's still not solved. That's what I'm saying. That to me is exactly the argument for why don't go listen to these people and take medications. Because you actually have an income. You've got people that love you. You've spent 20 years now or so taking these medications, talking to these doctors, trying to treat it, and you're nowhere near treated. That is not an endorsement for seeing therapists and taking meds.
But he's not dead.
Yeah.
I think the main thing is he's got a bunch of friends who are dead.
Yeah. And the flip side of that too, though, is that medication, right? And I've always talked about this. We talked about this with the pharmacist, right? Short-term solution for a long-term problem, right? You take the medication to get yourself to a point where you can start affecting those changes in your life to make actual depression go away. He took those medications for those 20 years. Over those 20 years, it made it so that he was able to leave the house, go out to these clubs, perform his crafts, hone his abilities, and become arguably the best stand-up working right now. You know what I mean? So while he may have done irreversible damage to his brain chemistry in the process, it still was a good enough short-term solution to build his repertoire. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I'm not a professional, and like we said earlier, if you're dealing with this shit, go see a professional. But I do think that the more you play into the reality,
dude, white knuckle it. What the fuck are you?
The more you play into the reality of, hey, I've got this horrible thing that I need to address, and every time you see a therapist that you're dealing with this horrible thing, you're reinforcing that there's this horrible thing that needs to be addressed. I do honestly think that in certain stages of depression, you can kind of step to the side of it.
I absolutely agree with you to a point. I've never seen a therapist, whatever.
Yeah.
I've had some issues in my life, but I have friends I remember in high school, I had a friend who was told he was clinically depressed.
Yeah.
Now, this is a kid who never went to class sophomore year. You know what I mean? Like, just smoking weed and fucking around. Junior year kind of turned it around.
Right.
Then started going to therapy. He was like, yeah, let me keep this going.
Right.
Started going to therapy. Was told he was clinically depressed.
And that doesn't help. And then you get coddled for it.
He dropped out 4 months later. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like he turned it around and dropped out and got his GED because he just disappeared. This is a kid who was just like, we'd be like, hey, man, you want to cut class and go smoke weed? He'd be like, nah, man, I'm getting it together. And he got it together, and he did it, and he buckled down because he was upsetting his mother. Then he went to therapy, and they gave him an excuse.
They gave him an excuse for being shitty.
They gave him an excuse to be even. He didn't leave his house for months.
Yeah, because they gave him an excuse for it. They gave him an excuse to be coddled.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for like.
It's just those treatments are.
I'll just talk
for some, but not for everyone.
I'll talk to myself right now. Like I'm very prone. I'm prone to getting down. I'm prone to being lazy, and the things that kind of keep me from that is the fact that I don't have a choice but to show up and work every day, and I get lost in the activities that I do. When I don't have work in front of me, I don't leave the house, and I get progressively more depressed. When I have to show up and do things because I don't have a choice, because I'm going to go starve to death if I don't work a job, and I can envision all the consequence. That's the only thing that gets me going and gets me to be productive, and I enjoy work. Like, once I'm working, I enjoy work. I don't enjoy getting started. I dread it, but
that's everybody.
Yeah, but I get lost in the activity once I'm doing it. I can just speak for myself. If there isn't like force above me that's forcing me to go do that, I never take that initial step. It doesn't the force to me is the world's greatest motivator. And like what you were saying, when there's the coddling element or someone gives you that excuse, I don't think that helps.
Well, I remember I had a friend of mine when my dad died, and I was.
That will get you out of depression.
No, I was out of sorts for a while after that. But I actually quit drinking for like 6 months after that. I didn't do any drugs or drink. And but I remember at my dad's funeral, my buddy, his mom had passed away. Now, obviously, my mom had passed away before that too. But he broke down at my dad's funeral, and I'm like consoling him because it was the same funeral home his uncle was laid out in. And he broke down. He was like, "I don't know how you do it, man." And I looked at him. I was like, I'm not trying to be like this.
Yeah.
And he got pretty upset at me, but like, it's like, I mean, that's kind of what it is. It's like, I don't know, like maybe it's worse. I know, like I said, I've been pretty close to fucking, and fucking
checking out early.
Yeah. It's just, you got,
it's a mental decision to fight. Listen, like I said, I'm not a fucking therapist. Gary Goldman's one of the most respected comedy geniuses. I'm an open micer.
I think he's the best fucking writer.
Listen, who the fuck am I? Like, and with that, listen, he's also, I prefer a yelly guy, so he's just kind of not my style. I like a dude who's going to yell more
I
than
like
him,
a guy
sad.
who isn't the style I would say I like.
Right.
And then every time
and they just win you over.
Yeah.
But anyways, I just had that one takeaway when he was making the run through the medications he took for a lifetime, where I was like,
he's not taking 7 medications now.
No, but he's revolved through like all of them, and that's also just proof they don't fucking know it's a guessing game. They just slap you on it and kind of hope for the best. All right, last topic of the evening, unless people feel inspired, unless these have piqued your interest and you got more topics you want to throw out there. Have you guys seen the Joker movie yet?
Yeah, we were just talking about it.
Hell fucking yeah, dude.
I haven't seen it yet.
Twice.
Oh, really?
Twice.
I haven't seen it yet, but
twice.
So
I'm
good.
enjoying the outrage towards the movie, which seems to me like this is so the religion of the left that they're like, men can't go enjoy their thing. You know what I mean? It's like, this movie's just not for you. You don't have to enjoy it. It's just a movie. It's not provoking violence.
I'll tell you this. I think the movie's a little too derivative of the
King of Comedy
and Taxi Driver. There's just scenes in it that are straight up lifted from those movies.
I hate that. I loved King of Comedy. Taxi Driver, I didn't really get. I still don't get it. It's not like one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I see that. King of Comedy's fantastic.
King of Comedy, I loved.
But
King of Comedy in part inspired Rob's Newsroom.
That makes sense.
Because I was watching. I just thought it was so funny.
Just that in
real life.
Network.
No, what's Network?
You've never seen Network?
I've never seen Network.
You should definitely watch Network. I can't
I'm telling
believe you've never seen that movie.
I want, like, I had this concept for the Newsroom.
I'm mad as
thing.
hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. You never seen that movie?
No.
Oh man, you need to go home and watch Network tonight.
Maybe I will.
Yeah.
It's not like I got work early tomorrow.
That's true.
I'll watch Network all night. I'll watch Network twice tonight. All right. King of Comedy, I love it. I should go rewatch King of Comedy.
Well, that's the thing about Joe.
Yeah.
Never seen King of Comedy.
What? It's really worth seeing. It's great.
Here's the thing: if you've seen Taxi Driver, obviously.
Yeah.
So like, there's a lot of stuff like I straight lifted from King of Comedy.
Yeah, I mean, like I know about King of Comedy. I know De Niro's essentially playing his character from King of Comedy, like made good and became a Tonight Show host.
So like to me, the Joker movie, the last 20 minutes
is incredible.
Yeah, it made that movie not suck.
But before that, it was a slow grind.
Nah, you're bugging.
Yeah, I wasn't super. I really was not.
All right, but let's just talk to the outrage. The outrage.
The outrage is hilarious. Daily Mail ran an article where the fucking headline was an anonymous tweet. Just a random person's anonymous tweet.
That's important.
In quotes.
Yeah.
And it was like, this movie is too terrifying for... That's a tweet.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a person saying a thing.
I mean, we're preaching the choir. To me, it's fucking mind control where... Okay, so this movie's not for you. There's a market of people who clearly were willing to spend a lot of money.
People
yeah.
that were saying, the same people who were saying that this movie is going to cause violence were the same people that were furious 3 months ago when Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump suggested that video games cause violence, which was retarded.
Right.
That's such a good point.
Yeah, which was retarded and is always retarded when somebody does that. And those same people that were clutching their pearls at that then clutch their pearls at this movie.
And also the same people who are like, you know, super pro-gay because how dare religious people tell us what is or isn't values? And I go suck as many dicks as you want. I don't give a shit. But I don't like it. Like it's a religion in a different way where they don't want like I don't even know what it is that they don't want us to be able to enjoy, but they don't want like what I guess white men might like to even be available. Like they, you know what I mean? It's like
story.
Yeah.
It happens
of a dude who loses his mind.
It happens to be a white guy. Because here's the thing:
no, but I'm saying the market of people
you're still marketing the. You can't do that movie with a black guy, because if it's a black guy, it's justified, and he's not crazy and a bad person.
Right?
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like you can't do that movie with a fucking person of color because it's a call to arms.
Right.
And I'm not saying you can't do that movie. You can do that movie. Right. Those movies exist.
Right.
But it's not this movie is about this guy living a shitty life and going nuts and still at the end of the Joker movie, whatever. This is a spoiler, but like, you know, the city's on his side at the end.
Right.
But like compared to Falling Down. You ever see Falling Down?
Yeah.
Okay. So compared to that movie, that guy was the villain of the fucking movie. You're cheering for him because he's killing people on screen, but he's a villain. He's a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that movie...
That was with,
Michael Douglas.
Yeah, Michael... Like, it starts with him, his car in traffic, and it's just like, fuck it.
It's a great fun... It's a great fucking fun, dumb movie.
Of a guy just saying, fuck it. I'm clicking out of life.
Exactly. That's kind of what it is.
The ultimate
Joker's
fantasy
a little different.
we've all
it's like,
had when we sat in traffic is that we're just going to get out and start murdering the people around us.
That guy was just... Falling Down's a little bit more of just like, this is a Poindexter on his way to work, and he snaps. Whereas the fucking... the Joker is more of like, this guy's been mentally ill since he was a child. It's just a different, and then they kind of reveal that he's been abused, and it's kind of like this whole thing where it's like, well, this guy's been abused, like he's acting up. It's the same, but it's like it doesn't have the impact of it's somebody from a minority group that it has when it's a fucking white guy,
right?
Because that's the flaw in society, right? That's the point of Falling Down. That's the point of this movie, kind of. Not the point of King of Comedy as much, but like, it's this weird thing where they're just like, yeah, this is the guy who's supposed to be doing the best.
Better be a king for a day than a schmuck for a lifetime.
No, but you know what I mean. But it's this kind of thing. It's like, this is the guy who's supposed to be doing the best, just based on basic shit,
right?
And that's how fucked up society is. This guy's still fucked. That's the point of those two movies. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just like the outrage about it is just like, yeah, like this white guy is still that's the fucking point. All of Earth is fucked. We're all fucked. That's the point of those movies.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like...
And if it was a black guy, you go, he's fucked just because he's black.
Yeah, if it's a black guy, you're like, good for that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Can I tell you, I had a funny moment the other day. I was in my house, and if I'm alone in the car, I'm a real yelly, angry guy.
Okay.
Or if I'm alone in my apartment, I could be a real yelly, angry guy. But I'm around other people. I've learned, like, people don't like being around a yelly, angry guy.
Sure.
So I learned that at my last job. I once, like, lost at my desk, and, like, everyone, I was like, oh, you can't do that. Like,
yeah.
it doesn't
I do it in
roll
my
out.
house a lot.
Yeah, I do it in my house. You know what's great? In my last job, I sat next to one person who didn't, like, it didn't bother them. So I was allowed to act that way. But I'm also just aware most people are kind of like, they feel like they need to fix it. It's uncomfortable to be around. So I know how to, like, totally, the same way if, like, I'm around my rabbi, I don't use I won't say fuck kind of thing. It's a part of my brain. I just know how to turn it off.
Did you just censor yourself from saying when I'm around my rabbi, I don't say the N-word?
Whenever I'm around your rabbi,
I mean, not that I hang out with my rabbi all that often, but you get the example. If I was around a nun, I wouldn't be saying, hey, fuck this motherfucker, whereas that might be that is the way I kind of talk. I mean, you listen to the show, I say the F word. I say the fuck word. Why am I saying the F word? Anyways, I walked into my kitchen in my house. And I thought no one was in my entire house, and I was mad as anything just because there wasn't food around. And I walked in. I was like, "There's no fucking food in this fucking house. I'm fucking hungry. I'm supposed to fast more." And I looked at myself. My grandma was just sitting at the table. I was like, "Oh, I'm not alone." I'm like, sorry, I had to see that. That's it. Any closing words from you, Mr. Harrington? Anxiety attack coming up. I'm hosting.
Yeah, dog.
Where's the call from Yosef?
Is he calling in? Was he here?
Well, I don't know.
Can we call him? Can we call out?
No, we had this conversation before the show started. I told you we couldn't.
Should we try and call him? Just see if he picks up?
You can call him on your phone.
Yeah, I'll try and call him.
Okay.
We might as well go to 12, huh?
Nah, we should get out of here.
Well, we'll see if he picks up. We could say hello.
You had some shit on your lip, by the way.
What's something on the bottom lip? Top lip?
Top lip.
There the whole time. Little orange thing. Weird.
Yo, anybody see this Jake Flores homo? Did he actually touch Tard?
Who?
Jake Flores.
I mean, you're really throwing something out of left field at the end here.
Lewis's friend, right?
Yeah, it's his boy.
Yeah, it's Lewis's buddy, right?
Yeah. Nah, dude, he was like, he's popping off some shit about the skanks. And he's
Today.
like, this morning. And like he consistently just throws shit out there, directed at the skanks, at Shane. He's always one of those like fucking jump on the dog pile, just like not funny lefty comics.
I don't know the guy. I think he's friends with Ian. Yeah,
is he? I mean, he was like boys with Cumtown, and Cumtown is the one who put it out there that he may or may not have hooked up with a mentally challenged girl at he met at an open mic.
Well, there were, how you supposed to avoid that? We've
Aren't all
been there.
women mentally challenged?
Yeah. Also, at an open mic, it's like, everyone's a little off. How are you supposed to tell?
We're talking about math.
I mean, how mentally challenged?
Doug, I think he done touched her.
What do you mean? Like, oh, he abused her?
No, I think he just was like, hey, you can, you're wearing a helmet. Why don't you come out to my car and blow me?
And she did it?
Maybe.
Well,
she was wearing a helmet?
Sounds like consent.
You're putting it out there? She was wearing a helmet?
She might have been wearing a helmet.
She was protected, She didn't have to be concerned. She had a helmet on.
Okay.
She couldn't get mouth STDs?
That's great. All right, so here's the actual tweet. Jake Flores, here's my take on Ellen. There are no sacred cows in comedy.
From 4G to 1 the second I make a call.
What? Because you're making a phone call and with anything but AT&T, your phone goes from 4G to 1G.
That's just a thing?
Yeah.
So you're saying I need AT&T and not Verizon?
No, it just means you can't search the internet while you're on a phone call. All right, so Jake Flores, here's my take on Ellen. There are no sacred cows in comedy.
Out through,
Nothing is off.
Computer?
No, Robbie.
Why not?
4 times now.
I feel
4 times. I told you that's not possible.
I feel like this is the challenge to get your job back here.
Here's my take on Ellen.
You can overcome this one hump.
There are no sacred cows in comedy. Nothing is off limits. If you can't handle her jokes, maybe you're too PC. Then he says, just completely random thought, Legion of Skanks calls ice on people, and we all have a great time, but Ellen pals around with the creator of Homeland Security, and you get your pitchforks. Classist much?
I see a picture of this Jake Flores.
Yeah, he's a fucking loser.
I don't think I want to... I don't like attack another I don't want to get involved.
Really?
Oh,
you don't want to go after that guy?
I used to see this guy around at the stand. He was always a bit of a weirdo.
Yeah. Dude looks like the safest motherfucker in the game. He's holding a fidget spinner and a revolver.
Which one's he going to spin first? Make his day.
I guarantee he's never fired either.
I'm just going to say that's kind of funny.
What?
What, this
the fact that he's holding a fidget spinner and a revolver in the same picture is kind of funny.
It's kind of funny. But
Which one's gonna spin first?
He does make having a beard look safe.
Who's the blonde hair chick?
Who?
Right there. Who's that?
This?
No, to the left.
This?
Twin Peaks fangirl.
She's not attractive.
She's not a blonde.
I like it. Click on it.
She's not. She's a brunette.
Thin face. She's got the glasses. I like brunettes.
Ew.
Nah, she's not really much. Yeah, I kind of like it. I can work with it. Let's go to Philly right now.
Philly?
Yeah, let's see what Katy Terry's up to.
Dude, I feel like you would clean up with these like shitty Brooklyn hipster comic girls.
Would I?
Yeah, dude. You're like way more man than they're used to.
Nah,
I'm not a lot of man. All right. I think we did it. I think we
You gotta be into that stuff.
No, you don't though. Dude, when you and me, here's the thing. Me and Chris, we were out in some random bar in
It sounds likely.
it was right down the street from like Brooklyn Law.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And we got into like
was that after the debate thing that you did?
Yeah.
How'd that go in the end?
I fucking crushed it.
There you go.
leveled.
There you go.
We ended up like, me and him ended up, it was right there in the middle of the Shane shit, and we ended up talking to some fucking SJW chick for 25 minutes.
A lot of the dudes that she was with were just getting mad that she was hanging out with us. She was cute.
She was like kind of cute. She was
a cute blonde.
She had no butt.
No, she had negative butt.
Like negative. It was concave
D's
butt.
titties, nice face.
Right. And it was one of those things where
titty and no butt.
Well, I had the feeling that either
decent titties. They were probably like a strong C.
I thought you said D titties.
So I got the vibe that no one had spoken to this girl like with anything resembling like honesty and treating her like a person. You know what I mean? Like they were just used to being.
I kind of got like by the time we and Mike were done talking to her, I was like, oh, she just spouts shit she reads, and no one calls her on it.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like very clear. Like 3 different dudes came over to check on her, and she was like, I'm having a conversation. And they weren't like small guys. They weren't like, it wasn't like some like sheepish, like into themselves, like they weren't like fucking alphas.
Right.
You know what I mean? They weren't like huge fucking monkey assholes, but like,
they were big enough where they looked like they should have been able to handle themselves.
All right.
they should have been able to beat up Harrington.
Yeah.
We did it, everybody.
No, I just want to get this point across.
Oh, okay.
Right? I definitely got the feeling walking away from that conversation that she would have hooked up with either one of us.
Why not
simply
both?
because
You can fill a mouth and butt.
Maybe, right? But like neither one of us was like, obviously Chris is a married man. I'm not, but at the end of the day, like I did get that feeling though, where it was like, yeah, like that kind of energy.
Yeah,
of
it was
just
the kind of thing where it's like, if I was a younger man and I was in a bar with that chick and those dudes, I would keep her attention just to. I've done this before. When I was younger, where you just keep a girl's attention to piss off some loser in the background.
Nice.
That's kind of what I was getting at, was like, and I think you would do really well in those rooms because you can bullshit, you can carry yourself, like you're great with sales and everything, and you can get across like your actual viewpoint without being an abrasive asshole. Unlike me, who just always goes for like, yeah, I'm going to say the no words that I know are going to make you upset.
Harrington just called her the N-word 4 times.
Really?
Yeah, but her pussy was so wet. You could smell the copper. You know what I mean?
Copper.
Yeah, you could smell it. Yeah,
She was on her period.
It was leaking out of her IUD. It was just she was so hot and bothered her IUD was melting.
It was just the eggs were bursting through.
For more of that brilliance, check out High Society Radio. It's on the Gas Digital Network. Comes out every
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
You guys had a great episode last week with Dan Soder.
Incredible episode.
Good episode
Prior to
tonight.
that, you had the guy with the boot on his head. That was really funny.
Vermin Supreme. was on
Vermin
there.
Supreme.
Yeah.
And
Don't forget Corn Pop.
Corn Pop, the guy who pulled a razor blade on Joe Biden. He was on our show. We found him. It was investigative journalism. That's what I do. That's what I do best. I'm a journalist at my core, and we found Corn Pop, and he called in. You can find that on YouTube.
And what happened? What's coming out next?
I think I can't talk about it, but we definitely have a foreign leader coming on the show in the near future.
Hell yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, so BK Chris, High Society Radio, Mike Harrington, producer of Anxiety Attack Comedy Show.
Yes, sir. October 17th.
I will
is
be there,
The next
hosting.
show. You are hosting 1 week, from when we are recording this tonight.
You got a great lineup. Is Sam
We
Burrell's
have
on there,
an
right?
absolutely incredible
Yeah,
lineup.
come hang out, buy a ticket, let them know that I'm a draw. It helps me.
I mean, I told you, here's the thing. I said last month, right? We were doing exactly this right now.
Yeah.
I said, if we get, I think it was 5 people to get a ticket, you would get a spot on the next show. You not only have a spot, you're hosting. We had a ton of people come out. It was really successful last month. It's only going to get better. Shane Gillis is on the lineup. Sam Morrill, Karen Feehan, Colin Terrell, a number
I actually got
of
a tape out of the last one. Last one was a lot of fun.
Last one was fucking banging, dude. It's probably the best one we've ever thrown, and this one's only going to be better. So please come on out. You guys are going to have a blast.
All right, there you go. We did it. Thanks for hanging with us. Have a good weekend.